talking. We're going to be talking to him about that, how he fishes shallow water, how he finds he's out of the way. I think weren't you guys out fishing today?
Kinda.
More like trying to film something.
Man, I like that intro.
Hey everybody, welcome to Bass U Live, Christmas edition. It's that time of year again, and we love it. We have tons of prizes. You can see them laid out on our table here. We're going to be giving away all these things tonight. We've got a really great show in store for you guys. And we've got all our guys. We've been spending so much time together, but it's good to see all you guys again so soon. Of course, we've got Mike Iaconelli, the greatest fisherman in the history of Sunset Lake, Bridgeton, New Jersey, with us tonight. And
It could be. It could be.
And we've got professional fish head / program manager / JK from Bass University, Justin Kimmel, spelled with just one L?
One L.
One L.
Yeah.
We'll get that fixed.
How can you tell? All right.
Whether it's spelled correctly?
That's right.
Well, hey, we're glad to have you. Glad to have you guys. We spent some time celebrating the holidays as a company recently. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later on. And of course, we've got BTC, Zach and the Riz pushing buttons. Zach's not in the room right now.
Woo!
He's checking to make sure
He's
everything's...
been ostracized or exercised.
Yeah.
Checking to make sure we don't have any sound issues, tech issues, whatever.
Woo!
Check out the new gear, by the way.
Yeah.
How about it?
Dope.
Gear.bassu.tv.
Gotta get one of those.
That's
man.
right.
Go get it.
Dope.
That's right. That's all. Go over to the website, guys, bassu.tv. You can check out all the gear there. And, man, we got a really cool show tonight. As I see our producer for bassu.tv just strolled in. Good to see you, Jeffrey. And we're talking about team tournaments, man. This is a big deal. We love them. Everybody here participates in them. It's a whole different dynamic than fishing by yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it's a blast.
It's fun. Buddy tournaments are fun. I think it's a starting point to a lot of people that get involved in tournament fishing. It's for me, my first tournament I ever fished in my life. I fished in 1990 with Brian the Carpenter, and it was a buddy style tournament. And it was important for me because it gave me a motivation to continue to do it. So it's a lot of people do it. It's a great starting place. There's people that make a living doing it in certain parts of the country. Justin, and it's just a great aspect of tournament fishing. I'm glad we're doing a show on team fishing and buddy fishing.
I'm psyched too. I know we spend a lot of time individually trying to excel and accomplish things, but the buddy tournaments, the team tournaments never stop because they're just too much fun, and we get to fish them locally, and it's a blast. So that's what we're talking about tonight, guys. It's all about the team tournaments. We're going to be teaching about it. We're going to be learning about it, and we've got some really amazing guests who have really difficult names like Iaconelli and Gluszek, and they're with us tonight. These guys are recent competitors in the Bassmaster team tournament championships, and they did extremely well. And we have Brock
Rankemeyer. That's
and
my best guess.
Yeah, and Brad
Jelinek.
Yeah, these are
Slightly soft J. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
Not a soft
J.
J, but slightly soft. Just ease it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep, we're gonna have those guys coming on first, and we also have some other guys that are Tim Penhollow and Casey Chusicle.
Casey Chusicle.
These names are tricky, man, and they're probably spelled right while we misspelled Kimmel.
We did.
Hey, we're gonna have those guys on. We're gonna be talking team tournaments, how they did it. What's the strategy? You got one power guy, one finesse guy. How do you make the adjustments to try to win tournaments, to try to get the biggest bags? How do you do all that? That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be taking your questions. We've got so many prizes to give away. We use your question on the air. We're going to be giving you 30 days free of Bass U TV and some other stuff. And we've got a lot of great stuff here. We have a Facebook like and share. Riz, I'm going to pass it to you. Why don't you tell all the people watching how they can get these prizes and what we have going on tonight?
So we have a lot going on tonight. We're going to give away a ton of awesome prizes that you guys can see on the desk there. We're giving away prizes from TH Marine, Optimum Baits, Mega Bass, and many, many more.
RTD.
Yeah, RTD, the rod threading device. That's
Yes.
a really cool new product that the Dean, in fact, he would have given that best in show at ICAST because it's a very useful product.
Yeah.
And
He did.
For the
He
optically
did give
He,
us that
he-
show.
he did give
Yeah.
that.
for the optically impaired.
Yes.
He did
Optically
give that
challenged.
best in show.
It's
so.
a powerful tool, guys. It's a good
Indeed.
one.
And remember, guys, if you're watching over on Facebook and you want to be a part of tonight's show, head over to BassUTV/live. That's a way that you can dip your feet into the program. And if you use the promo code BULive30, you get 30 days for free access to the Bass U website. And you can be a part of the show tonight by interacting with us on the message board. If you're still over on Facebook and you can't bring yourself to check us out on Bass U TV, that's all right. We can still hook you up with something. Make sure that you like and share the Facebook feed. And at the end of tonight's show, we're randomly going to select one person to win a Facebook prize pack, which is the trolling motor package, the TH Marine G-Force handle, the prop nut, and the troll jacket. Also, at the end of the
prize
show,
pack.
we're giving away a grand prize, which is a Hydro Wave.
That's
Nice.
right. And it'll be based upon something we speak about on tonight's show. So stick around, watch it all, and win that Hydro Wave.
Yes.
So, hey, what's going on right now? 30 days free. All you guys that been on the fence, not about whether to come over and check it out. Come over, 30 days free. Try BU Live 30 is the code, and you'll get 30 days free. But we also have right now the great annual subscription prize pack going on right now. Mike's got it right over there by him. Anybody that signs up annually for Bass University TV right now gets a brand new Bass University hat, sun shield, as well as a pair of DT6 Rapala crankbaits and Ike's Quotient Series Flambeau tackle box. So that's a $60 prize pack just for sign up, coming over, trying us annually. Or you can try us 30 days free. Guys, do that. Do that now. You want to participate in tonight's show, go ahead and get that done. We're going to be taking a break here in just a minute. Love you guys to come over and sign up for Bass U TV and get in the chat with us here tonight. And guys, bring your questions. A lot of guys struggle with team tournaments a little bit, picking the right partner, how to, get one guy fishing one way, one guy fishing another, how to get the maximum weight. It's really a science. It's an art and a science, and we're going to be talking about it. So bring your questions, anything you have about team tournament fishing. We're going to be talking about it all night tonight. And we also have a Ken Duke trivia question that we're going to be having later on tonight. We're going to have some Bass U battles going on tonight.
Battles.
Bass U battles.
Yes. And we had a lot of fun recently, Mike. We just come back from the Bass University and the Professional Ed fishing party. Might as well have been a fishing party. It's our Christmas party.
It's Christmas party.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a great party. It was, the holidays are great, but we do that once a year, and we get a chance to visit with everyone with their families, which is a nice change of pace. We see each other all the time, but it's nice to have the husbands and wives there, to have that camaraderie. And it's a good night just to reflect on how good, I don't want to say how great we have it.
Yeah.
And what we get to do. We get to experience fishing every day. The business we do is fishing. We get to talk fishing. We get to deal with fishing. We get to teach fishing. We get to get kids involved. Take that for granted a lot. And it was a great night to reflect on it and say, man, we're freaking lucky. We're lucky to have this gig.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. You feel fortunate, and I appreciate you, reminding us all of that. 'Cause it is, it's a wonderful business that we've all now, is making careers in and spending time doing. And one of the most amazing things about it, and because I bumped into Justin the day after, and him and his wife were and me and my wife started talking, and of course, Justin and I can't stop it. After all these years, we cannot stop talking about fishing.
Yeah.
And you watch our wives' eyes glaze over in silence
Hold
as
out
they
their
have-
phones.
as they have to endure yet another endless
Oh,
conversation
man. It's
about
awesome.
rattle traps and
Rattle traps.
suspending jerk baits and cold weather fishing.
I like how at the party the other night we had like the 8th grade dance thing going on where all the guys were on one side. Of the
Yeah,
room
we did have
talking
that.
about fishing, and then we had like the estrogen ocean on the other side, and they were all talking about whatever they talk
Yeah.
They talk about hating us and why they wish they were not there.
Yeah.
Hating us and trying to convince you to have babies.
Yeah,
Riz.
yeah.
I heard that talk a lot.
Yeah, I got a strategy for that though.
You got a strategy?
So we're good. That's a different show that we'll talk about that on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we spent a lot of time at the party thanking all you guys that are part of our Bass U family here on the show and working behind the scenes. But I also want to give a big thank you to all of our subscribers at Bass University TV. We launched this a few years ago, and it's been growing. The momentum's been growing. Your feedback has been amazing. Your participation has been fantastic, and we continue to expand. We're continuing to invest in more production, different things that you're asking for, what you want. And one of the new things, I'm so excited, we're going to be able to give that as a gift to everybody coming soon in 2020 is the Bass U app.
Ooh, the app coming.
The Bass U app.
Wow, very exciting.
It's going to be available to all you guys. You're going to be able to use it on your iOS device, your Android device, and it's going to make viewing Bass University a lot simpler, a lot easier, and we'll have some new features. So look for that coming real soon, 2020. That'll be our gift to you guys. We appreciate all of you
Very
for being
nice.
part of our program.
Very nice. Real quick, I want to jump in, and I do want to say I want to give a shout out to a good friend of the show, another guy we work with, Mark Jeffries. Mark's having some health issues, but he's getting through them. He's doing Brian Carpenter, if I'm correct. He's doing really good.
Yes, shout out for having a heart attack and surviving, Mark.
Yeah, had a heart attack, survived.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mark.
Kicked its butt.
Of
Well
course,
Good job.
Mark Jeffries, a big part of why we're here today doing the live show. So we're thinking about you, Mark. Get
he's-
better.
I talked to him a little while ago, and he's actually feeling really well. He says he feels so much better now that he actually has blood flowing to his heart. So
Wow,
yeah,
good.
Says it's a pretty cool thing.
That is cool. Yeah.
Heck of a bonus.
Wow, that's
I've
nice.
I've heard that happen with heart attack victims and people that get stents.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, oxygen's getting to their brain in a way that it hasn't been for years
Yeah.
because of the blockages. So
Yeah.
they experience that euphoria, that feeling.
I have
Wow.
blockages. I feel like I have blockages sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially after a long night of drinking. It's definitely some blockages.
Well, we're glad, Mark, you're doing well, really
Yes.
and truly. And I know the Bass U family sends their thoughts and prayers your way. Keep getting better. We look forward to having you back at work real soon. And speaking of work, Mike, you got busy again today. You and Riz got busy working down on Sunset Lake.
We did. Well, the big thing, and we've talked about this on other BU shows, and of course, talk about Like Live. The Winter Leagues is a very interesting phenomenon that happens up here in the Northeast, in New Jersey, especially in South Jersey. And literally every weekend from early November all the way through to when the regular derby start up, which is like March, you can fish a tournament every weekend. If there's not ice, if you're not locked out by ice, there'll be 5 to 10 to 20 guys, hardcore fish heads, at the ramp waiting to have a derby. And I love them. I love them. And one of the things is I love that it keeps me engaged in decision making, And that's if there's 2 or 3 boats or 300 boats. It's all the same. It's that decision making process. When to stay, when to leave, when to change, when to circle back, And I've got to do 4 of them this winter, which is pretty. There's been some where I've only fished 1 or 2.
Yeah, that's you're on a good pace.
I'm
this
on a
year.
good pace.
Yeah,
I've
very
already
good.
fished 4.
That's awesome.
And I got a great opportunity to fish with Rich
What's your
twice.
record?
What's that?
What's your record in these 4?
I'm 4 wins in 4 tournaments.
That's pretty good, dude.
Yes, I want to knock on wood right now. But it's great because it keeps me engaged. But it is exactly the topic of tonight's show, Pete, which is these are buddy style tournaments. They're team tournaments, and of the 4, I got a chance to fish 2 with Rich, and it's been fun. It's been fun because you definitely leverage each other, and you use each other to try to build a pattern. Whether it was the first one we fished, which was a few weeks ago in Davis Mill, or even today when the bite was so darn stingy, what we figured out together ultimately led us to the win, and it's a really neat thing about buddy tournaments. I know we're going to dive deeper into it tonight, but to be able to leverage 2 guys, 2 brains, 2 lures, 2 presentations, 2 depths, 2 retrieve speeds, 2 colors, to be able to leverage all that stuff, it really helps you dial in a little quicker,
I think it's where we all started, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think for the most part, most guys would say, their first tournament was probably a buddy tournament of some sort. And so it's nice to keep doing that. I like it a lot. Like you said, you got somebody to work with, and there's a lot of camaraderie that goes along with it.
Yeah.
Because it's certainly not for the good fishing.
Not South Jersey.
JK.
Yeah. Not South Jersey.
It's not for the good fishing.
I have a new appreciation.
Yeah.
Today I knew about half of those guys out there.
Yeah.
Or knew of.
Yeah.
And there's good fishermen. I mean, there's 8 boats today, 7 boats.
Yeah,
today,
they're
or
good
10.
good
But there's
fishermen.
some
Sticks.
solid hammers out
Yeah.
there, and you're talking about 3 bass got weighed in today.
Yeah. 3
So-
bass. 3
So
bass.
part of that's
weighed
the
in.
fishery. Like, I honestly think you made a really good call today.
What's that? Leave early?
No. Well, we had to do that, but you made a good fit bass fishing call today, and it resulted in a couple of bites and a couple of snagged gizzard shad, and then no bass in the boat.
No.
But like, it gave me an appreciation. Like, man, these guys up here, they're fish heads. Like,
They love
they're
it.
Oh, yeah.
hardcore fish heads.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And it
You-
really
you,
opened up my eyes, and a lot of appreciation for.
You have to love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
It's not good.
No, it's not good, but it does. The other thing is, it's like training. It's like
Yeah.
It's like hardening your brain.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, you
part
could-
of part of like the winter leagues for me is
Yeah.
this sickness that I want to go out and torture myself.
yeah,
And literally, like when
Yes.
when it's raining
Yes.
and it's 35 degrees, and I know nobody else wants to be out there.
no
Nobody else-
food, no drink.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody else wants to be
Purposely
fishing.
don't wear your rain jacket.
I'm like, dude, I'm going because those are the days when I buck up and I fish those tournaments and I cast until the end of the damn tournament. I work my tail off. For every day that I go out there and grind in the winter,
Yeah.
is one day in the summer when I go out and crush their faces.
Yeah.
I gotta earn the good days
Yeah.
with the tough days this time of the year. So I'm just
Yeah.
making
Paying
the
the
slate
dues.
clean.
Yeah.
Paying the dues.
It is training. It is
Yeah,
training.
very
if
much
you,
so.
if you look at other sports, right? Baseball, football, UFC. Everybody you train. And you training when it's tough. Training for those tough
Yeah.
scenarios, dude. It makes you better. I promise it does, man.
It's mental toughness training.
Yeah.
It really is, because you're fishing for 6 hours. You guys each got 1 bite today.
One bite.
1 bite. And
Yeah.
that's to stay focused for that period of time
Right.
with freezing cold and
Yeah.
rain.
That's
And
it.
wind.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
that
yeah, the wind.
yeah, you guys
Yeah.
had
Brutal.
heavy winds today.
You know,
my God.
about that training, though, there's guys who are your competition. They shut it off in the off season. They're climbing
Yeah.
a tree.
Yeah.
They're sitting in those conditions, but they're all bundled up waiting to look at deer.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Some guys need the mental break, but this guy
Yeah.
right here is staying sharp.
Yeah.
And
I
you
wanna-
said he's got
yeah.
a lot better pace today. I'm
Yeah.
thinking the 2020 is looking good.
I have
for you.
I have a good feeling about
I do
it.
too.
I have a good feeling about it. You make good good decisions are good decisions. Like I said, it doesn't matter if there's 3 other boats or 300. And the more you make good decisions, the more you're prone to make them in the future. So
Absolutely.
I love it. I'm going to keep fishing winter leagues as long as Becky doesn't kick me out of the house. I'm probably pretty close
Yeah.
to her kicking me out, Jeff.
And
I
just
see you
for
looking at me.
for the record, anybody that's
Pretty
watching
close.
that's watched Mike fish on the MLF or in the Classic or on the Elites, I swear, it doesn't matter whether he's in the Classic or whether he's in a South Jersey Winter League. The intensity is literally the same.
Oh yeah.
Like it's there. There's
No backing off of the throttle.
No, there's no backing off of the throttle. It's focused. It's moving forward. It's trying to develop the next bite, the next pattern.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's great to see to learn from.
Yeah, and from
Well,
all
I've
that
seen it in your practice too.
Oh yeah,
Super
yeah.
intense.
Yeah, and it's good, and again, it's good to stay, to stay at that pace, because when you start tapering off, but I want to stay at that pace if it's practice, if it's a team tournament, if it's the classic, whatever. But for all the haters that watch MLF and give me crap about catching a pound and a halfer and get exciting, you come to South Jersey, Bucko.
Seriously.
Bucko.
By the way, you did not weigh in 1 under 2.5 today. So
No,
that
that's
was
true.
pretty solid.
That's true. We did have two good ones today.
What was your weight?
So we had two fish for like 5'9" something,
Yeah.
5'9" 8". So we
Okay.
had two really good South Jersey
Solid.
fish.
Yeah.
Both bites we got came on the same. I don't want to say the same exact spot, but within 10 feet of
Yeah.
Wow.
of it, and it basically was in South Jersey. This is a deep channel. This was a channel that made just a little turn, not a giant turn, but a little turn, and it went from about 5 foot to about 8 in the center, and those fish were positioned right on that break of where it went from like 5 or 6 down to 8, and there was probably a little roughage right there, but we got the first bite on a 1/2 ounce white jackhammer chatterbait with a white Zaco trailer. Rich caught the first one, absolutely plumbed it, had it choked down his throat, and then 6 hours later, in the same exact spot,
6 hours later.
I went back with a Rapala, and by the way, we're giving one away here for guys that want to subscribe. Rapala DT6 in Demon, and
Randy
I went
Howell
to that.
invented that color, right?
Yeah, what's that?
Randy Howell invented that
Randy
color?
Howell invented that color. That's correct.
I think he invented red.
He invented red. That's correct. But it was funny because as we're easing back to that spot, I tied it on like 5 minutes before I caught that fish.
Yeah.
I didn't have it tied on, but I'm going back and I'm like, oh God, because I remember how it's set up.
Yeah.
And I'm like 5-6 foot on top. I'm like DT6, perfect. I can grind it.
Mm-hmm.
And with that watercolor, dude, everybody thinks that Demon's only good in the spring. But when water is dirty, like borderline orangish dirty, like it was today,
6-inch visibility.
dude, something about that red, orange is badass, and
It'll work all year.
it works all year. Yeah, and the same thing. So I threw out there. I swear, dude, because I dropped a point when he caught that first one, and I got to almost where when you look on your depth finder, your boat icon starts to cover the point, so
Yeah.
you're almost dead on it, and I got that bite. So I mean, it was within 10 feet of where we caught the first one, and same thing, choked it, got it in the net, and it was gone.
And
Absolutely pummeled
And
it.
you celebrated.
I was happy on that one.
We were about 10 yards away.
Yeah.
That is South Jersey. This is different. Like they're comfortable. But then I got a little excited, and then the whole field was within.
The whole field flocked
50
down
yards.
to me.
Come on.
Yeah, I
They
know.
did. They hole jumped you?
Well, everything's a community hole in South Jersey,
Yeah.
so there's no secrets.
It's the only fish, and how many acres is that? 20-acre lake?
It's pretty small. I think it's more 20, but it's pretty small.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, you're in farting distance with,
yeah.
with the entire field the whole day. So.
Yeah, but it is interesting how there were other patterns, and like I talked to Dave Haas, that was back where Brian and Justin went in the back of the lake, and honestly, in my opinion, that was the best scenario all day. It was the cleanest water, it was the warmest water. There's a creek channel there that meanders through it, so it had all the right stuff. And Dave Haas said he had a big one on, just one that surgeon with a rattle trap that and that could have been the winning fish. And then Chris was
That was
back
probably
there.
a carp snagged in the
Might have been a
back.
carp.
Yeah.
Might have been a carp. But then Chris was back there in that same area and said that he was shallow, and he hit his trolling motor and puffed up some dust, and he looked down and saw like a 3.5 pounder scoot away.
Wow.
Out of that much water.
We
So-
saw so much activity back there today.
Yeah.
The
And,
bites came on that swing.
Yeah.
and got bites early, but I mean they were just weird. They
Yeah.
just weren't committing, and
Yeah.
it's,
It's
Yeah.
racking
whatever.
my brain what we could have done differently. But
Stayed home and had breakfast.
yeah,
Yeah. That might have been a better
eggs and
choice.
sausage with Pete.
Damn right.
Hey, fishing a lot of tournaments is key. We talk about the mental side of it, and that's toughness training. But most guys only practice the decision-making process in a tournament, and so you got to fish a lot of tournaments.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just practice, and you get faced with these conditions all the time,
Yeah.
and you got to practice. making those decisions. So
Yeah.
fishing these tournaments is really helpful. One of the things that I teach my guys in on-water training, and I've done this myself, and I continue to do it, is I create tournament scenarios when I'm out practice fishing.
Yeah.
You know, so I can practice making decisions.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yep.
if I, you know, like there's an hour left in the day, I have to get one bite.
Right.
So I go through scramble mode. I practice those
That's
types
smart.
of things. I create a fictitious tournament on that day. And,
Yeah.
You know, on a certain day to try to maximize my weight, and then I evaluate myself.
Yep.
And you know, that way you're always practicing these decisions all the time. Because when you practice fish, it's a little bit different from when you're tournament fishing and making those real time decisions. But,
Yeah.
But that's you know, speaking of which, I got to get into some of these winter leagues because I got a tournament coming up in Florida in the middle of January, and I have not fished. Well, I fished a Delaware River tournament a couple weeks ago, so I have fished a little bit, but I got to get back out on the
You
water.
fished with me. You were pretty sharp.
That was a good one. Yep, me and Justin had a blast down there
Yep.
at Jordan Lake.
Another buddy tournament.
Another
Team event.
another team event that Justin and I fished and won. And
JT Kenny said he just sent a message, said he just won a buddy tournament last week.
Wow.
So he's keeping busy in the off season.
That's
It's good.
Yeah.
It's
He's
good.
either
Riz, you
hunting or fishing every day. That
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, it's a good life.
Riz,
Oh,
what do
yeah.
you got? You got a couple things coming through?
Yeah, we got a lot of people on the message board that I just want to give a shout out to before we take a quick break. Pat Loudon, Steve Guadera, Big Bucket Mouth, John Nee, Scott, Joe McPhail, Drew Bad, Illinois Buck, JB Fishing, Dave Hall, John, Jeff Lieber, Pops and Bama, Pat Loudon, Wayne Queen, Tony Wilbert, Josh G. We appreciate everybody that's on the message board with us
Appreciate
here
you guys.
tonight. We can't wait to get to some of your questions. And since we are in the Christmas time, one of the questions that came through for the panel was, what was your favorite Christmas gift that you ever received
Oh,
that
God.
had to do with fishing?
Please, can I answer this? Ooh,
Yes,
ooh,
Mike, you can.
me, ooh. I've actually mentioned this before on Like Live, but I'm going to say it again, dude. It was the absolute best Christmas gift I ever got. I want to say circa, give me a high call it circa
89.
Nah, earlier. High
Earlier.
call it
86?
86.
Come
yeah.
with it. What do you got?
Yeah, high call it circa 86. I'm going to go with, I asked for the color selector and received that gift under my tree
right.
one year.
wow.
For most of the young anglers watching right now have no idea what a color selector is. It was a weird round-looking disc dial meter deal that you would drop a probe in, and you would drop the probe in at different depths, and as you would drop it in the water, it would tell you what color to throw. And it had a color wheel on it that was unbelievable. I mean, had Pantone and pastels, and I don't know what the hell. I had colors I never even saw before.
Dude, I remember how you. Do you remember how you used to pronounce chartreuse?
Yeah, Chatteris.
Chatteris.
Yeah, it had Chatteris on there.
What year was
What the
this?
hell is Chatteris?
I want to say it's if we can have one of our researchers here look it up, but I want to say mid '80s.
Okay.
I want to say mid '80s feels about right.
I'm pretty sure Roland Martin was still pubbing that in 2012.
Was
so.
he? Okay. Yeah. No, but it was a great gift, and I loved it.
Crankbait companies came out with crazy colors.
They
just
did.
because the color
They had
selector would-
they had colors based around that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get
Yes.
these crazy colors like I don't even know, red and black, which didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
That's how they came
Crazy.
about because of the color
Crazy.
selector.
Yeah, I loved it. Pete,
Yeah.
what's your favorite?
You
fishing
know, mine goes back into Woodstock era.
Oh.
Ease the
It
jib.
was- There's the biggest
Cane pole
best
and a grass
influence
skirt.
ever was my dad. You know, it was the holidays, and he was down in the living room. Our bedrooms were upstairs. Me and my brother were playing. I was probably 5. Brother was 7. Might be off by a year or two there, and he just hollered up at us a weird thing. He said, "Have you guys been good this year?" And we said, "Yeah, Dad, leave us alone. We're playing." And he before he said, "Come on down here. I need to talk to you." And I'm like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah.
One of us did
Oh,
something.
no.
One of us did something
Yeah.
wrong. And we come down, and leaning up on the sofa were 2 identical Zebco spinning rod and reel.
Wow.
combinations. in the.
That's awesome.
You know, remember how they used to package them in the cardboard with the cellophane?
Oh yeah,
wrapper?
yeah.
And they were 2-piece, fiberglass. And we had been using push buttons. We had been using my dad's old reels up
Yeah.
to go fishing at that point.
Yeah.
And we all loved it so much that they decided to give us those
Wow.
2 Zebco riding reels for Christmas. Changed my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a great gift.
That's
Thanks,
awesome.
Pop.
Yeah. Justin, give us one. You got a good Christmas gift memory?
I think it's going to be next week.
Oh, next week.
Oh,
I
Gift
go
to
home
yourself.
and I pick up a Bass Cat Cougar FTD,
yeah.
Yamaha 250.
Bass boat to yourself.
Thank you to myself and my wife. My wife is a big part of that, and so are you, Mike. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm happy for you, man.
I'm stoked.
You worked hard for that boat. I'm glad you're getting it.
Guys, that question was from Justin OKC. Justin OKC, please send in your customer number. You just won a Rapala Brat and a Rapala Ripstop.
Ooh, 2 good baits.
Awesome.
Man, I've
And-
been hot on that Brat lately too,
You have
man.
been.
That's a good plug.
Ever since you did that shoot down
Dude,
there on
I
the
did
bay.
that shoot. So I had to do a shoot with Tackle Warehouse, and I had fished it before in situations, but it was the first time I tied it on and kept it in my hand. You know how you know what I mean? And something about it, dude. That the smaller Brat,
Yeah.
and it comes in 2 sizes. And then I've since taken it here in South Jersey in these shallower lakes and fished the shallow lit one, and I've been catching them just as good. It's really cool bait. I mean, if anybody's watching and you're a fan of square bill style baits, pick up a Brat because it's a little different. It's a little smaller. It'd be good to put in your arsenal for sure.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
unique profile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice little bait. What do you got, Riz?
We are going to take a quick break, but before we take our break, I want to let all of our awesome viewers know about some of the specials that we have going on right now. We have a special holiday deal from Erupt Fishing. Get their RTD, the rod threading device, for 30% off. Use code at checkout RTD. We have an exclusive TH Marine officer. We have we have an exclusive TH Marine offer to our Bass U subscribers. Get $10 off any purchase of $50 or more at thmarinesupplies.com. Check out the member benefits section under your account or click on Pro Member Offers on the front page to get that promo code. And we also have a Flambeau offer going out to our Bass U subscribers. Get a whopping 40% off any purchase at Flambeau Outdoors.
What?
Check the member benefits section under your account or click on Pro Member Offers on the front page to get the promo code.
Who approved that?
Wow, that's awesome. That's
That was
awesome.
me.
All right, we're going to take a little break, Pete, but when we come back, man, we're going to get hot and heavy into the theme of the show, which is team tournaments, buddy fishing, buddy tournaments, and there's a lot more to it than just jumping in the boat with your friend. It's a lot of theory that goes into this. We're going to be unraveling that, and of course, we've got Brock and Brad joining us via Skype. We're going to be talking to them about their recent success down at the Bass Team Tournament Championship, Lake Hartwell, Justin's backyard, and talking a little bit about them, about some of the strategies they used as well. So it's going to be good. Hang in there with us when we come back.
We're coming right back. While we're on the break, guys, don't forget to share our Facebook feed, Facebook like and share, and you'll be entered in to win an awesome TH Marine trolling motor prize pack.
There you have it. Hang in there with us. We'll be right back.
Gerald Swindle, Bass UTV. I'm telling you right now, if you ain't watching it, you like trying to put 3 pair of socks on 1 foot, man. You got to get part of it. You got to get on here and learn. If you got any doubt about flipping, pitching, we got it on Bass UTV. We got Bobby Lane. We got everybody you can imagine doing what they're the best at. You want to learn how to flip? Check out Hackney, huh? Don't get no slower than that. We got it all. BUTV offers A to Z bass fishing from beginner to the highest level. We have it on BUTV. Check it out online. Enjoy the laughs, but really enjoy the outdoors and fish. That's all we're asking. We want you to fish and we want you to watch BUTV.
Right. We need our notes. Hey, everybody, welcome back. You're watching a brand new episode of Bash U Live. Sitting to my right, the one and only J.K. Justin Kimmel, and of course, the dean of this university, Pete Gluszek. Pete, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited about the show tonight. We got a cool topic.
It's a great topic. It's one that we all have fun doing. I remember my first buddy tournament. I don't know if I ever told you this story. I'm gonna tell this story real quick because I got exposed to bass fishing tournaments generally late in life. I was probably 19 or 20. A lot of people started early, and one of my college buddies at his graduation party, I met guys that were in a bass club, and I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. I had been bass fishing for a long time, just trying to catch bass, and loved it. And I couldn't believe there was tournaments about bass fishing. Like when there was no internet, right? So information traveled slow.
Yeah.
So I got exposed to tournaments, and their two of them were joining up to fish a buddy tournament, and they both had a boat, and they let me and my friend use their other boat. It's just one of these little aluminum
little
boats.
John boat.
Yeah, little John boat. And we were going to lake. What was it? Where the state record in New Jersey was caught?
Oh, Manico.
Mananico.
Yeah.
Mananico. And
Sand ponds.
yeah, I fished there, and I had been fishing there a while, and we fished that tournament, and we just caught them. We caught them, and back then we draw 50 boats in a tournament.
Yeah.
We would get a lot, and we came in and we won that tournament.
Wow.
And it was the first tournament I ever fished, and it changed everything. I've spent every minute, every dollar
Thinking about it.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
Still loving it.
Yeah.
And it all started in a little buddy tournament. And the cool part about team tournaments to me, and is like when you're in an individual and you catch a big fish, an important fish for you, maybe he's going to win the tournament. It's a thrill.
Yeah.
And your heart's pumping. But the co-angler he's in his own tournament.
Yeah.
But when you're in a team event, man, you guys are working together.
Absolutely.
You're high-fiving. You're hugging.
Yeah.
There's so much love.
A lot of energy there.
So much.
Yeah.
So much. That's what makes it special.
It's special.
It makes it awesome.
It's awesome. Now, it's interesting, your first experience. Mine was at the same exact location
How?
with Brian the Carpenter.
I was just Brian then.
Just Brian back then. All this from Grout. But it was the same exact spot. We saw a flyer at, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm like at Fish and Fur.
Right.
Like Brian and I were at Fish and Fur. It was a big tackle store on the Black Horse Pike down the street from Runnymede that we used to go to all the time. And I remember getting the flyer, and I'm like, yo, what is this? Same thing. Oh, dude, we can do this.
I think the finesse fish had just come out.
Finesse fish had come out.
Yeah.
It was right around that era. I want to say late 80s, early 90s, right? Had to be right around 90, 89, 80s.
No,
Earlier than that?
It was mid 80s. Mid 80s.
Yeah.
definitely.
And we were like, man, let's go do that. Let's go fish this thing. We had the opposite result. We sucked. We entered the tournament. I think we caught a couple, maybe caught two.
Might have.
But we didn't do well at all. But it had the motivating factor that, dude, I got beat bad, but I want to come back and I want to learn how to win one of these. So it was a cool experience in that my failure drove me to want to compete more. You know?
And Rich's first one was just 3 years ago.
That's crazy.
A little longer than
And
that.
he hasn't worked a day since.
I know.
That's not true at all.
It
was
Pretty close to true.
Do we have a lie detector?
14.
Let's hook him up to the lie detector.
It was whenever Mike won on the river.
He works in the
right around
off-season.
that first time.
2014.
He works
Yeah.
between casts.
I work while I'm fishing.
It's how we all got started. It's how a lot of us fell in love with the sport. Shout out to Vic Chido, who was my partner in that tournament, and we broke as could be in college, had absolutely no money, and I won $350 in cash.
Wow.
What? That was a big deal.
That was a big deal.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was very cool. What do you got, Riz?
So we had a cool question that came through from Gary Ring, and Gary Ring's question was, when you're fishing a buddy tournament, do you usually start out fishing at different depths? For instance, one guy throwing a topwater and the other guy throwing a jig. Expand on that.
I can take
Yeah,
that first. 'Cause
yeah.
we came fresh off of this, and so it's fresh in my mind when we were fishing down at Lake Jordan, North Carolina. Me and professional fish head and Jeff Olson, producer extraordinaire. We were fishing a riprap stretch, and we had gotten a bite when we were out filming the day before, or a couple bites that were out deep, and pretty much where the riprap met the bottom, and there is a 10, 14-foot zone somewhere around there is where we had gotten a few bites. So when we came out on the tournament day, the weather had changed, but what I did was, I had us all fishing different depth zones. You know, we were keying on the deep stuff and having somebody constantly throwing at the bank and trying to cover as much of those depth zones as possible to make sure that we intersected the fish. And when we found those fish, it was sunny, bright, and those fish were deeper, a little bit more finesse oriented. And then on tournament day, we had wind and rain, and those fish made a clear, shallow water movement. And had we not been throwing at the bank, Mr. Jeff, had we not been thrown at the bank, we probably wouldn't have been able to recognize that move. So in that case, and a lot of cases like it, you got to cover different depth zones until the conditions of the day tell you what the pattern's going to be.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and I would say, you know, when you have two guys, you want to utilize each other in different ways, especially until you figure out what's going on. And you know, just the two tournaments I got to fish with Rich the last couple of weeks, we made it a point to fish different baits until we started to dial something in. You know, and as we dialed something in, even then we tried to fish different baits. Even back at the Davis Mill tournament, which was a few weeks ago, we recognized that the fish were on the bottom, and I was catching a few on a jig, and Rich started fishing, instead of fishing a jig, fishing a Ned rig. You know, so I'm a big advocate in team tournaments of, you know, fishing different stuff until you find the fish, or fishing in a way that complements the other guy. And I do want to explain that real quick. I got a chance to fish buddy tournaments with my uncle on the Hudson River in New York for a lot of years back when we used to fish ABA events up there. We used to fish a couple buddy trails that were in the Northeast. And we would fish a type of vegetation called the chestnuts. And you know the chestnuts,
Yeah.
Pete. And I know you love them.
Tough vegetation.
Yeah, basically imagine, you know, like the thickest lily pad you've ever seen in your life. They look like snowflakes, but they mat up. And there's birds walking on them, like literally. That's how thick they are. But we would work as a team, and one of us would throw a frog or a spoon, and we would just be working that frog or spoon trying to locate the fish. And the other guy would make short pitches with a heavy jig or a heavy Texas rig, but mainly he was just killing time, waiting for a blow to happen, because you hardly could catch them on the top out of those nuts. But when they'd come up and blow, the nuts would expand, and then you'd have about maybe about a 10-second, 5-second window where that blowhole would shrink back up. And the guy in the back, you know, your buddy, guy next to you, would quick pitch that jig or that heavy Texas rig and catch him every time. So we worked as a team, you know, complementing each other with techniques, you know. So that's the kind of stuff I think you need to do in team tournaments, in practice and in the event itself, you know.
Because if you're both doing the same thing, fishing on top, especially in that scenario, there's such a small window before that hole closes.
Yeah.
When that fish is active, he's fired up.
He's fired.
And
If you can get it there, you got him.
You got him every time.
Every time.
But it's like every second that goes by, that fish is becoming less active, and even leaving the area.
Yeah.
So, it's huge, and I see guys making that mistake a lot. You know, when one guy starts catching them a certain way, the other guy can quickly get involved with that, and you both start fishing the same way all the time, and you're missing some opportunities.
You miss some opportunities. Yeah. Now, if the bite is, if you're killing them on one bait, you know, they're definitely have the other guy tie that bait on, But in a normal fishing scenario, it's nice to be able to
Compliment
You
each
got
other.
to diversify your portfolio.
right, exactly.
That's the toughest moment too for the guy who's not like catching them, and the one guy gets going on something.
Yeah.
That's the toughest moment in a team tournament decision, because it's easy
tough.
for the guy who's smashed them to say, okay, yeah, you get it.
Yeah,
But I mean, I'm faced with that a lot, and me and my team partner, we commit to not throwing the same thing.
Yeah.
There are like scenarios
Yeah, like
when you're
you-
pulling up and making 10 casts at
Yeah.
a piece of cover, and you're on a bait, then you both throw that bait.
yeah.
But other than that, when we're just moving and fishing and stuff,
Yeah, like you just fished a tournament with him recently, and you guys complimented each other with 2 different baits.
yeah,
Jerk bait
and he popped off all of a sudden. He popped off.
Yeah,
He started catching them cranking at first.
Yeah.
and just started running through them. And I'm throwing a shaky head Cinco, and finally figured out the way they wanted it. I had to slow way down,
but
and all of a sudden,
yep,
I'm only catching 1 to his 2 or 3, but the ones that I caught,
good
hell,
ones.
yeah,
Good ones. Ones that stayed.
I
Ones
stayed
that
on the bottom.
Took the ride with you.
And I noticed that because when you and I fished, JK, and I was impressed with your ability to do that, because I was catching them on a wiggle wart, and I'm up in front of the boat, and I'm getting that first cast, and I'm fishing shallow, and I'm catching those big ones, including an 8-pounder. And it's,
Wow.
And it's so
It's so tough.
it's
to
so
not wanna
tough
throw
not
that.
to want to participate in that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But that's the difference in making, having a good stringer of fish to having a winning stringer of fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is what Justin did. Justin fished slow. Justin opted to fish in zones that I wasn't fishing, put key fish in the boat, and helped our weight out. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's how you're going to get into the winner circle.
And one major tip for that, because in the last 2 tournaments, so I won one with you, and then I won one with Matt last week. You should still have that bait tied on at all times and ready to go. Here's why: because when you're in the bottom of the boat getting one off, and there's a moment you might think, with Pete, what happened? We had to go run back to the boat ramp because we ran out of batteries or something, because we were still, trying to film too. And I let you off at the boat ramp. Well, what am I going to do? I'm going to put the shaky head down and pick up that wiggle wart. And I caught our 3rd best fish of the day on that, waiting on him to go to the truck.
Wow.
And then with Matt, he's in the bottom of the boat. So I pick up his bait, fire up there, 6-pounder.
Wow. That's incredible.
And it's the only fish I caught off of his bait all tournament.
That's incredible. And let me
Forgot about that fish. That was fun.
let me say this too. Everything we're talking about right now, which is key stuff if you're fishing a team event, it's all contingent on having the right partner, right? Because
Yeah.
I fished team events since the 80s with Brian, and I've had guys that I've partnered with that are unbelievable anglers, dude. They're the best guys I've ever fished with ever. But we didn't complement each other's style. He was too hard-headed, I was too hard-headed, or
Talking about Bob?
and I'm not directly talking about Bob, but I
Bob
think
Sully.
that's a really big subtopic of this conversation, which is finding the right guy that you gel with and mesh with, And you've seen some of these relationships over the years where team guys, dude, they just smash. It's like everywhere you look, every time you look at a different event, they're like, my God, them same guys won again.
Yeah.
And it's because the dynamic they have together, they gel,
Yeah.
And so, that's an important part of this, man, is finding an angler that works with you well, that meshes with you well,
I
And
gotta-
it's not always that the one guy sucks. A lot of times both guys are awesome, but you just can't work good together, You got to find somebody that can work with you.
I got another IM question that's going to piggyback off of what you're saying right there, Mike, pretty well.
Yeah.
My foot just cramped up. This question's coming in from Richard Chupp. Richard Chupp wants to know, if you're struggling on the front of the boat, do you let your buddy take the front deck of the boat?
Yeah. If you're struggling on the front,
Yeah. If you're struggling, you're
Yeah.
you're not catching them. Do you ever take a step back and switch it up, let the other guy get on the trolling?
yeah. And again, I think that is a good compliment question, because I think a lot of that, I think really good partners have it. There's an ebb and flow throughout the day.
Yes.
Where one guy will take the front, the other guy will take the back. And you can feel that energy. Really good partners know those moments when to step back and when to go up. You know, it's almost unspoken when it's happening right. You know what I mean? You just feel it. But for sure, I'd say for sure. I mean, there's moments when, you know, for sure, like when I'm, you know, retying or doing something, it's not off. My front deck's not off limits. I want my partner to come up and stay in the area or modify. And there's other times when, you know, he's more pinpoint with a certain bait. You know, he's flipping with a jig, and I'm open water casting. So I'll let my guy come up here and I'll jump to the back. So I think it's important to have that. You know, unless you're fishing with Bob Sully, then you just stay in the back the whole time.
Yeah, that's right. And you don't dare offer
No,
an opinion.
no opinion, no suggestion or anything.
How dare you?
Yeah, I think it's important, and I've had the same experience with Sully. But when a guy is dialed and is getting bit, you want to benefit by letting him get up front, because he isn't looking for the bite like you are, because you're struggling. He's really catching them on whatever technique it may be. So you want to get out of the way and figure out a bite or a different bite. And because windows of opportunity in the world of fishing do not last that long.
Right.
And if you've got somebody that's a hot hand that has figured out a subtle distinction on stop and go retrieve, on how to work a tail weighted bait, and can get those bites, man, you want to let him work, and you want to give him some space to work. And that's some of the things that, you know, you gotta be able to feel that out too, because both guys on the front of the boat, you want to be conscious that you're not inhibiting each other's ability to get to the target. Like sometimes you'll be elbow to elbow, and I need to make a forward roll cast to be able to skip it under the dock, but I can't, right? Because I'm prohibited from doing that, or he's prohibited from being able to do something. You want to make sure that that
Right.
boat is efficient.
You got to have that feel.
Both
you know?
guys can be at their best at all times, and that's a lot of it's boat positioning, being far enough off the cover or close enough to the cover, being one half a step away from each other on the deck as opposed to rubbing shoulders. It just depends on the habitat, and you got to get a feel for that. I think that's important.
Yeah, I think no matter what, you guys got to be on the same page though, going in. We're like, that's not. It's like an easy. All right, come up here. You know, if you're gonna fish that way, like my team is very unique. We fished 14 years together. Only other team partner. If we don't fish with each other, there's like only one other guy who's the fallback guy.
Right.
But like I left the front of the deck. The only time I'm ever on the front of the deck with him is when we're paralleling riprap and we're combing it together, and that's just us, and it works.
Yeah.
And I don't take the motor, like
Yeah.
hardly ever.
Yeah.
But it works for us. You know, I'm confident in my ability to find fish and go figure them out and catch them.
Right.
But since we've been fishing out of his boat for years, it's just been one of those things where he makes the calls and I fish it like it's a BFL. So I'm no matter what, I'm trying to catch him. So it's worked for us, but we're on the same page that way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges, and this is when you're catching them, it's pretty cool. You guys get along. You guys are getting it done. You're working together to maximize your weight. But a team is tested when everything falls apart.
When things aren't gone right.
When you first, and second patterns and thirds all disappear, and now you as a team have to make decisions together.
Yeah.
And that's where I've been with partners where we have just butted heads, and I feel that we should be doing X.
Yeah.
And we do it for 15 minutes, and my partner's constantly pushing me to leave X to go to Y. And then when we go to Y, I'm pushing him. No, this isn't the right. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like you got to have one captain.
Yeah.
A lot of times, especially when things start melting down.
Yeah.
Or if you are two that can act as one and think so similarly, that works too. But and Justin, I've heard you say this too with your team partners, is whatever you're doing, you got to get invested. You got to say, okay, here we are. This is the decision that we've made, and you got to get all in on it.
Yeah.
I've seen guys melt down and start running around and just get completely spun out.
It's cool when you get
Situations.
dialed in like that with somebody on certain bodies of water too. You know, it's like you really feel like you can. You really feel like you start to become one, and you know you're thinking the same things. Like you just gel. You know where to go, when to be there, what time. We fish a lot of tidal water, so you guys could probably relate to what I'm saying pretty well. It's like you look at each other and you both know, like, okay, it's time. The water level's getting right. Let's go get it. And it just works out. And I'm sure these two guys sitting here waiting for us on the Skype will be able to relate to that too. By the way, the last two questions, Gary Ring and Richard Chupp, you guys won yourself some RTD rod threading devices.
RTD.
Yeah, RTD. We're gonna set you guys up with them. That's a device that you run it up your rod blank, and it takes the line through the guides almost effortlessly, and it really works well. So
You needed that today,
congratulations.
Riz. Didn't you have a couple guides you missed?
I looked down at one point as I'm ripping a chatterbait, and I say, "You ever look at your rod and say that, or you realize you missed a guide?" Yeah, well, that
yeah,
happened,
you needed
so.
that. You needed RTD today.
Here's the one thing about that thing: if you don't need it now, you're gonna at some point.
Yeah, you're going to need it. Yeah.
because your eyes are not gonna last forever.
Exactly. Pete, we've been doing all this amazing talk about styles of fishing for team tournaments, about how to gel with your partner, strategies with the other guy, and I couldn't think of two better guys to have, especially with the current situation of these guys being, technically, I would say their title's the best team in the world, I guess, or in the nation at least, right now,
They won
walking
the
the
big
earth.
shebang.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big deal. I mean, Riz and I were excited about winning $300 today. These guys just won 20 grand plus a Phoenix. So I mean, it's a big deal. But happy to have these guys on Bash U Live tonight. We've got Brock and Brad joining us, and they are your 2019 Bassmaster team champions.
Hey, thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you.
How you doing, guys? Okay, first question. This is a big deal, buddy fishing, team fishing. It's a national thing. It's how most guys got started. It's how most guys continue to fish, including myself. I still love it. This is a big deal. I mean, you guys are two of the best in the world right now as a team. Has this win sunk in? I know it's just been a few days, but has it sunk in already?
Pretty hard to beat what we did. Driving home in the snow for 13 hours was pretty brutal, but we come home with some nice trophies and some bragging rights is pretty amazing. That's for dang sure.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. We were all kind of watching it over the last few days online, and of course watched the second phase as well as it broke into the individual portion. But let me jump back before we get into this event. How long have you guys known each other, and how long have you guys been fishing as team partners?
Shoot. We met each other for a year. I think we've known each other for a year now. And we've been fishing ever since we met. And I think everything just clicked, and we've been at it all year long, and we just grind.
Yeah, so we got the Joe Bass Team Trail, which is what we qualified through to fish the team championship.
Yeah.
And we both had skeeters at the time, and Joe Bass has a skeeter incentive. And on Truman, I had taken the last two, so he kind of approached me, and we kind of fished the same water and not knowing who we were. And after he approached me, hit him up on Facebook, and I was like, dang, this dude's pretty much my age, and he's working as hard as I am, and he's in the money as much as I am. So I want to get to know this guy and kind of pick his brain and stuff like that. And a week later, our very first time fishing was on Lake of the Ozarks, and it had to have been 5 degrees. And it was just sleeting and snowing.
Ooh.
And we could care less. So we just went out there and fished all day long. We caught some fish, nothing to light the world on fire. But after that day, we got home, and it was like, all right, this is my guy right here. This is what we're going to do. And ever since, it's been gelling.
Yeah, that's so important. And we were talking about that right before you guys came on, is talking about that ability to gel, the ability to have a relationship that works on the water. So we've got guys watching, listening right now. Give us a couple tips on what makes this team work for you guys. What are some things that happen every time you guys get in the boat that are important to the team jiving?
Definitely having a good time on the water. I mean, you want to win every tournament. You got to be confident. Like,
we're both confident. Like, me and him have the same, like, we are going to do good.
We're going to win.
Yeah, we're going to win this.
As obnoxious as it sounds and cocky, you should say, but that's the attitude you got to have. I'm a big believer in positive thoughts create positive. Get a little closer, he said. But like, as soon as an example was, we got that the pack and for going to Lake Hartwell. We've never been there and didn't have any idea what to do. Read some reports, like it was taking like 11 pounds a day in a big tournament to win, and it was like, all right, we're gonna win, like right away. Just kind of like telling our buddies like we're gonna win it, and drive all the way there and just happen to win it. You gotta be confident. You just can't go out there and I'm gonna go try to catch a fish or two and kind of go from there. Nah, main thing is confidence for sure, and making sure your partner's as confident as you are.
Yeah, confidence is a big one, Pete, and we didn't touch on that. I'm glad they brought it up because that's one that you don't think of right off the giddy, but you got to believe you can win, and not just one of you, but both of you, right?
Yeah.
You both got to believe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's super
Both
important.
of us, you got to be on the same page or else it ain't going to work. You got to have faith in your areas, and if one of you guys isn't confident in the area, then you ain't going to fish as clean as the guy thinking that it's the best area, You both got to be thinking it's the best spot and
buy in.
Both use something different until you figure it out, like you guys were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Well, confidence is key in thinking or feeling like you have a chance to win. But, what I think is equally important is confidence in each other, confidence in each other's ability. Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know if we get around a jig bite, he can get that bite, or if with a crankbait bite's happening, my partner can get him that way. Do you guys have strengths or each have their own set of strengths or weaknesses? How does that work for you guys?
Big time is time of the year, honestly. Since we've been fishing together for a full year, we kind of got the pre-spawn, the spawn, the summer, the fall, and so on kind of deal going. So we kind of know how we fish, and honestly, we fish pretty dang similar. That's why I think a big reason we're successful is because we're pretty close in how we like to fish. So I'd say he's as much as I like to say I'm a good jig fisherman. He's the jig guy. I'm the worm guy, if that makes sense. Like in the summer, one of us is throwing a big jig and one of us throwing a big worm. And if it's happening for one, keep letting it go, because you got to be confident in your guy that he's going to catch those fish. So when we were listening to you guys talk earlier, something that we pretty much never do is throw the same bait. Even if one of us is wrecking them on, we continue to stay separate, because you got to be confident in your partner that he's going to catch every fish that's biting that lure at the time. So you're going to try to pick off the fish that's doing its own thing, and you will. I can't tell you how many turns we do that.
Yeah, that's
like
important.
One of us will wreck them, and like the other one just sitting there net boy, and we don't care because you never know whenever that worm bite's going to happen or something.
Yeah.
We just have faith that to make it happen.
Yeah, and the bite changes throughout the day too, and that's another great reason to throw different baits to complement each other, is because the bite's going to change. That jig bite will start tailing off, and then that guy throwing the big worm will start picking up, or vice versa. So it's a great strategy. I like that strategy.
What about culling? Does one guy handle it, and he's the expert cull guy? How do you guys do that?
I tried to. I'm the guy, but he second guesses everything every time. I have to do it like twice every time.
I'm like, dude, we got
like,
2 live wells.
Are you sure? I'm like, well, now I'm not. You got me all second guessing myself.
Yeah, it's like, all right, we're letting go a 289. man, that's our smallest one. Are you sure? I don't know. I'm like, well, we got 2 live wells. Start putting the ones in the other live well. You just wait and put them on a beam. But I think a big reason for that is we normally run my boat just because it's a newer boat, a little more reliable. And
Phoenix,
yeah, I was gonna say Phoenix has an incentive to where you win. If you win qualifying tournaments, you get another $7,000. So we've been using my boat pretty much all year long, and homeboy's normally in the back doing his own thing. And whenever we get to culling, he's the cull guy. But I'm not afraid to do it either. I'm happy when we're culling.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think it's good to have one guy, and I think it's also really important to be efficient. Like when you got a hot hand, like and your crankbait stuck in the net, like your partner will help you and get that unstuck, and let whoever's hot, just let them keep fishing.
Yeah.
Do you guys
Exactly.
do you guys have tactics like that keep you going?
Absolutely. Whoever catches it, the other guy is taking it off and saying, "Get back out there, go get another one." You know,
to a T, just like that.
Yeah. Now, I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to talk to you a little bit about the tournament you just won. And I want to start with practice because we've been skipping that a little bit. We've been assuming that, guys are showing up to tournaments as a team or a buddy and they're just fishing the event blind. But you guys practiced together a little bit. Surely you practiced for this event. And you mentioned you never fished here before. So talk a little bit about the strategy of fishing a team tournament in practice. Do you use separate boats? Do you use the same boat? Do you guys do map study at night at the hotel? Talk a little bit about your strategy for practice.
Well, it all started which arm we wanted to start in, and we went back and forth the whole ride down.
And the very first thing we crossed off the list, very first thing, looked at a map like, gosh, dang, that river is massive. We don't got enough time to do that. Cross off the Tougaloo. It's like, all right, we ain't going there. Cross off the lower end. We don't like fishing for spotted bass in 100 foot of water.
Yeah.
All right, we're going up the Seneca. Then we're like, nah, Seneca ain't for us. We're going up I think it's 6 and 20 river.
Yeah.
Nah. Reverse all the way back. Where do we go? The Tougaloo. First thing we crossed off. But the main reason for that was on that lake, this time of year, we like running the river on our home lake. And we were like, all right, well, that water's going to be in the 50s. And those largemouth bite. There's big largemouth on the lake somewhere. We just got to figure out where.
Yeah.
And the decision came down to starting in this spot. And we're going back to this, in the very back of this creek because the water was falling. We're like, these fish are going to come to us. The shad are coming back. The fish in the mouth are going to start following the shad. So we kind of got like a funnel of all kinds of fish. And idle over this thing, and this lit up like a Christmas tree. And it was like, okay, this is what we're doing. We're game on. And partner over here ties on a 3/4 ounce football jig. This is literally our first stop in practice. You get 2.5 days to practice.
Yeah.
And we need to be super efficient. Get there, and what do? Just immediately start catching fish. And it was like,
wow.
And they're largemouth. And we heard that largemouth was going to be hard to sustain for a 2-day tournament on Hartwell especially. And we're like, all right, well, this is going to be literally told each other, this is the winning spot right away. This is the winning spot.
Super confident. And the only reason I was throwing the 3/4 ounce jig was, you hear there's a lot of clay there. So it's like, well, if there's not a lot of rock, if I'm throwing a heavy jig, then I'm going to feel the rock,
Yeah.
So and it happened quick.
Yeah.
It was
like,
insane.
We're
like, man, they're biting everywhere then. If we're getting bit on our first spot, they're biting everywhere.
Yeah. And then once we figured out that we could catch largemouth there, it was like, okay, we need to run as much of this water as possible to try to find more of this, because in a 2-day tournament, you can't really just have a spot. You got to have a pattern, and you got to be able to run that pattern to be successful, in our opinion.
Yeah.
So that's what we tried doing.
Especially if we move on and it's a 4-day tournament like it was.
Yep. So we ran all that water just to find we found one more spot similar to it, and it was a pretty key spot for our day 2 for sure. And once we did all the river stuff, we eliminated a ton of water. And in my opinion, eliminating water in practice is just as important as finding fish, because you don't want to wear your fish out in practice. You want to eliminate everything, so when you're in a tournament, you're not second guessing yourself like, man, should I go here? Should I go here? Should I go here? Now lock it in. You got your spots and you're going.
Yeah.
So once we did that, went to the lower end, found a couple spotted bass spots in our back pocket just in case we needed them,
Yeah.
and which came in clutch for us on day one. We didn't know what we needed for day one to be in this thing. We thought if you were going to catch 17 pounds a day, you're probably going to win. And we had 14 or whatever,
Yeah,
and then we
about
went and dropped
14.
on one and caught a good spotted bass and got us 15, and then kind of went on after that. But if we'll get into that, I'm sure. But that was our practice, and that was our thoughts. Kind of use your strengths and go from there.
Yeah. It's a good strategy.
Yeah.
It's a good strategy because the place is set big. You know, you can't
So big.
physically
Yeah,
fish
it's
the whole
massive.
thing. You can't fish the whole thing in 2
And
days.
like-
So that was a good strategy.
Yeah.
Riz, what do you got? You got something coming?
Yeah, I took something away from what you just said about eliminating water. And anybody that's a subscriber to Bass U TV, if you've ever watched the Mike Iaconelli Fishing the Moment seminar on our website, he talks a lot about eliminating water and not getting bites being almost as important as getting bites. And you guys clearly utilize that, both sides of the coin. You took into account where you got your bites, and you also took into account when you didn't get bites, and you didn't look at it as a bad thing. You built off it, and you kept on rolling. So that's really cool to hear you guys say.
Yeah, that's a extremely important part. I've fished with guys before where we were practicing and they're mad because we weren't getting bit, and they'd want to go check stuff where we already got bit, and it's like, dude, you got to do this and that's one thing, eliminating water, but you're going and beating on your fish. They ain't gonna bite. For the fish you just caught ain't gonna bite the next day in the tournament.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
It takes a lot of mental strength to not do that because I like catching fish too.
Yeah.
You know, in practice, I want to catch them. You know, I hate not catching them, but
There was a time where we were on the lower end, and I guess all the trees are cut off at like 30 foot of water, right? And he's over here. He's like, we got word that they bite in there, and we were idling a bunch of these trees, and I'm over there thinking, man, if we got to catch them like this, we are done. And like we did like an hour and a half of it. I'm like, man, take me to like some structure or something. Like we can't do this. Like if we got to do it this way, we're done.
This down there.
We're gonna waste way too much time trying to find the tree.
yeah, yeah.
Sticking to your strengths, we see that over and over with guys, how they practice an area of a body of water that reminds them of their home waters.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
They get comfortable. But you guys practice together. You opted not to bring two boats to divide and conquer down at Hartwell?
No need.
Yeah, 14 hours with two boats would be pretty brutal.
Yeah.
That was a big reason. Now, if it were like Grand Lake, which is like 3.5 hours, we
For
might have
sure.
done that. Like,
Yeah.
we don't think it's a bad idea, but you want to be in the same general area, because if you get one spot 40 miles up a river, you got a spot 20 miles the other way, it's like you're going to be scattered all over the place. You're not going to spend efficient time fishing your stuff during the tournament. So that's kind of a downfall of having two boats, but it can be beneficial to help you kind of bear down on one pattern in an area too.
Like if we were lower end guys, it would have definitely helped to have two boats out there idling and finding all that structure and those trees and brush piles they were in.
Yes. Brian the Carpenter, what do you got there? I can't read it. Oh, toward the end. Okay.
Well, you guys were going through this, and we talked about team tournaments and how fun they are. And what was the love fest like when you guys started putting the beat down on them on the second day? Were you going Ike? Were you hugging? Were you high-fiving? What was going on?
Absolutely. It was actually a pretty amazing day. I mean, anybody that's fished really just dreams about a day like we had, and
it was his birthday.
Yeah.
It was his birthday.
Yeah. I caught a
Happy birthday.
thanks, man. That's pretty cool hearing from him. we definitely hugged. I think we hugged twice. We caught 2 over 5, and each 5-pounder we got two hugs.
Stout on Hartwell.
Stout on Hartwell, yeah.
But what's crazy is like day one we catch did we catch them all off that spot? I think we caught like 14 pounds off of one spot, and it was like a offshore for us, it was a deep spot for largemouth.
Largemouth, yeah.
And day 2, we go there and we try it and try it and try it, and just nothing's happening. So we just go fish some docks around it, and it was like a light switch kicked, and it was like, we got to do this. Like, forget that. We're going to do this. And it was just like every place we pulled up to, we're like, that looks right. And it was like, boom, 4-pounder. That looks right. Boom, 5-pounder. And then we were literally idling out of our primary area, and he stops the boat and he said, what about that? And I was like, man, I was eyeballing that too. And he literally throws it in reverse, and he idles over there, and like 4 boats just pulled up and started fishing this after we've been fishing it alone for like 5.5 hours.
It was crazy.
And then we pull up to this first dock, and it was like, boom, 5-4. It was
5-4. It was a 5-pound 4-ouncer, and it was like, holy cow, dude, we got 20 pounds on Hartwell right now. Like that's a sack.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
incredible.
then we went to another creek, the second creek we found, and it was like, and I was throwing crankbait in there like every day in practice, and the first day of the tournament, and I caught 2-pounders was typical in there, and I was like, he's like, you're not gonna throw that crankbait? I'm like, no, I'm hot with the jig, man. And he throws this crankbait. I shit you not, like 5 casts in, he's like, biggin. I'm like, yeah, they do feel big, don't they? And he's like, no, biggin. And it was like a 12, 5-13.
Wow.
And I netted it, and I was like, we're done, man. I was like, we just won the tournament.
Wow.
It's like 1 o'clock.
We called a 3 1/4 for a 5-13, and it was like, yep, we don't know what else to do. We're going in, make sure we get back safe. First boat in.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Golly.
That what a day. I mean, I know those days. I've had a few, and
On Hartwell, too. You've busted a
I've had a
20 bagger.
few on Hartwell. I've had some great experiences, but that energy must have been crazy.
Man.
But for guys watching and listening that don't know this format, I want to get into the next phase of this, which is you guys win this thing. You clearly are the best buddy tournament guys in the world right now. You win this event, and they say congratulations. They handed this check and the boat and the trophy, and now they say, now go fish against each other.
Oh man.
It's a very. I mean, this format is crazy. So you fished as a team, but then you got to the second phase, and now you're competing against each other. Talk about that, because that's strange,
I think stressful is a better word than strange.
Yeah.
That's where the other boat for practice would have came into play, so I could like say, hey, that was my spot, I found it, kind of deal.
Right.
But whenever you both find something, it's like, well, we can't just not both fish that,
Yeah. The main thing is, so like day 1, we literally were going to start in our primary area. It was a really good spot, but it was like a mile stretch to where the fish were biting all over around there.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if one of us
backed out like a dummy.
I said, if one of us is going to win this, we've got to try 2 different spots. We had 2 good one really good area and then 1 good spot. So I was like, dude, you go to the primary area, have at it. I'm going to go start in our good spot.
Yeah.
And that's just the decision I made. And homeboy figured out where they were in the primary spot.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you. In practice, it was a magic dock that he found. In practice, I specifically remember going to this dock, and he was not having it. And he's like, get me away, get me back over there. They're not biting here, they're biting over there. I'm like, all right, let's go. So we go over there, and we kind of just look at this dock. We don't even really fish it ever during the tournament.
Never.
And tell them why you went over there and fished it.
I went over there because there was a light on under the water. It was cloudy on the first day of the solo deal. And I fished like 3 docks, and then I get to this one. I'm like, man, there's like a crappie light on or something. And all I thought was, man, maybe the shatter here or something. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I literally right next to that light, and I'm dragging my jig, and I just get wham, hammered. And I'm like, huh. And I swung and I missed. And I was like, weird. And I threw in there. It literally took 7 casts to catch that one. and then I flip in the boat well.
It was like a 4-pounder, wasn't
Yeah, it was like a 4-pounder. And then I go into the boat well, flip in there, hammered first cast. I'm like, what the heck's going on? Flip in there another like 5 times and finally get another bite. I fished that dock for like an hour and caught 3 good ones out of it.
Wow.
303.
And then I fished every dock around there and never got a bite. So I scrambled and went back to our.
This is when I pulled into the creek and I was like, "You doing any good?" And he's like, "I'm doing okay. I got 3." I was like, "Any good ones?" He's like, "Yeah, they're all over 3." I'm like, "Well, damn, you're doing real good then." He's like, "How are you doing?" So when I went to the second spot, I caught 4, which ended up being the only 4 I had. It was like 5-7. Terrible start. Go in there and I was like, just mentally knowing that your buddy just fished exactly how you probably would have fished that area.
Yeah.
And it was just so hard. I really based myself on making right decisions and being efficient, but holy cow, I felt terrible for my marshal because it was sleeting. It was so windy.
Wow.
And I went through like a full tank of gas just running. I was like,
Put a
man, this
ringer.
is- oh, dude. At one point, I literally went and fished the damn riprap and looked at my marshal and I said, what am I doing? And then I put it back. I put my life jacket on and busted it 20 miles away. I was like, I cannot believe I just went and did that and wasted time. But something that was pretty special was the fact that he figured out how to catch those fish. And going in, it's a spot for the classic. I mean,
Yeah.
Mike, you know how special it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's one of those deals where one of you has got to make it. Otherwise, it's just like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And I kind of talked to him, and at first I asked him, I was like, man, was it that dock? And I guessed it right.
Yeah.
And you could tell. So let me finish what I'm saying first because it sounds different. But he didn't really want to tell me at first, not because he didn't want me to fish it for that reason. He wanted to be fair. Like if I found the dock, it's all mine. You know, like one of those situations, like a super super cool move by him. But I was like, no, dude, like, is it this dock? And he's like, yeah, it was. And I was like, okay, this is your dock. Like, I'm not gonna ruin this for you. Like, this is your opportunity to do something like this. And I thought it was really, really awesome for him to give me the opportunity. But with me with 5 pounds and him with the 3 pound lead going into day 2, the last thing I wanted to do was find the dock and catch a 4 pounder on it, be worthless for me, and him lose by, unfortunately, he lost by 6 ounces. But he went there and caught, how many fish you catch off the dock again in day 2?
3.
Caught 3 more fish over 3 pounds off that dock again.
Magic.
And I had to make the same cast like 10 times to catch all of them.
Amazing.
Nuts.
Yeah, so it was pretty special.
And you know how crazy it gets. Like, you get all stressed out and stuff, but you got to tell yourself, slow down, slow down.
Yeah.
And that was the ticket to almost making it to the Classic. Was every morning I told myself, don't fish fast because they're not biting it like you want.
Yeah.
Because or else I'd just be, skipping jig, boom, 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 get in and out. But they weren't biting like that. It was slow and steady. It was like the turtle wins the race is what me and my marshal and he's like the hare doesn't win.
Hey, let's get technical real quick. I want to bring up something that you just said. You made multiple casts to catch 3 fish, like 10 to 12 casts, or I'm from Georgia. Hartwell's one of my backyards, but man, we just dealt with this a couple weeks ago, and it's always on a dang jig in December or January, and they'll come and they'll roast it, and you'll swing and miss.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you guys doing? You let them swim off with it? You gotta pull the Pete Gluszek point and count to 17, or what?
Not 25.
I got second day. I got hammered 3 different times, and I never caught those fish because I never pulled the trigger until I seen that line moving or do something different than just go bing, like just shake. So I'd wait until they were on it, and I would even kind of give it a little pressure and say, okay, they're there.
So even after that first initial pow, you just keep waiting until you watched it swim away.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
I even had my first fish on day 2. It was probably the craziest bite of my life, and it hit like a little bluegill, and it was just like shaking my line. It was just wham, 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 wham. And I literally just like started reeling in, and then there was pressure, so I just kind of
On a 3/4 ounce football jig.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was skipping docks. for
Hey,
a
so the
3/4 ounce.
crazy thing is day one when we were fishing this magic spot, we were throwing out in the middle of this creek, and a boat comes flying in on day one of the tournament. And I was like, hey, reeling, throw it the bank. So we reel in real fast. We're throwing big lures and turn around and just start firing at docks. And what do you know? We freaking catch like 2 or 3 fish doing that. And it was like, well,
Wow.
I guess
That's an eye opener.
yeah, so well, I guess they'll
Well, you
eat
can't get
this.
out of
And we
there.
were skipping 3/4 ounce football jigs in like 1 foot of water on docks. And they were just munching. We caught one of our big fish on a dock halfway in the water that come out from the bank about 4 foot, and there was no rooftop, no reason these fish were there. I flipped a little beaver there, caught a 2-pounder, put it in the live well, his flip, same exact spot, 5-pounder.
Wow.
Literally no reason that fish was there.
Yeah.
There was probably like 2 foot in between the float and the bottom.
Wow.
It was-
Crazy.
And when
Yeah.
when it's the freight train going down the track, you can't stop it.
Can't stop it.
When the wind's
Absolutely.
No, there's no breaks.
No.
It's like getting hit by lightning. All right, guys, listen, we're gonna play a little game with you guys. Are you interested in playing a game with us?
Absolutely.
All right, that's a yes,
I was
Brian.
going to say, you don't really have a choice.
You don't have a choice. I just thought it'd be nice and ask. We're gonna do. Pete developed this little game. Pete, I'm gonna let you go ahead and introduce it. It's called Bash You Battle. What is this thing?
The Bass You Battle, what we're going to do is we're going to present you guys with a set of conditions. And you each are going to tell us the best way to attack those set of conditions to get the team tournament win. And we are going to tell you who's right and who's wrong.
Okay, I like this game.
Brother
How
against
is
brother.
that fair?
I like this game.
So you got a set of conditions? You ready to roll out, JK?
I can roll one out. Yeah.
Roll one out.
All right, so I can tell you guys fish offshore stuff together, talking your jig and worm game back home or whatever. But all right, so you're in your region. I guess we'll call it the Ozark region. You're fishing brush piles. Water's clear. You're practicing for a really big event, and you're catching them out of brush piles on your normal thing, whatever you're doing, when it's bright and sunny and clear out. That's what you're dealing with. It's been calm. You're using shaky head jig, that typical stuff, having to slow down in the summer. And tournament day, you get a 20-degree temperature drop. So, it might have gone from the 90s down to, 70s or whatever. And it's going to be cloudy and like 20 to 30 mile per hour winds.
Ooh.
So you guys take a turn. One of you guys is going to be in the front. One of you guys in the back, and whoever gets to go first gets to pick your technique first. But you got to pick different techniques on what you guys are rolling with, and we'll be the ones to decide who's going to end up being the hot hand.
Scenario.
And we're still fishing brush
Yeah, we're
piles
still
during
fishing the
all
brush
Well, yeah,
piles.
they're there, man. You're not going to leave those fish. Big
How
chance.
deep is a brush pile?
All right, we'll say they're anywhere from 12 to 20.
And we're still fishing the brush pile.
It's cloudy, cold.
Who gets to go
hey,
first?
Hey, wait a minute. You don't have to. This is your tournament. If you feel like those fish have left the brush piles, they left the brush pile.
That's fine.
All right, so if the fish have been biting in the brush pile, I don't care how crappy it is. We're gonna go check the brush pile. We're gonna go see if they're there, and if they're not there, cloudy. Gosh, what time of year?
Summertime. Summertime. It was
Summertime?
in the 90s all week, clear, and now
They're
it's
not going to leave the brush pile.
Yeah, they're probably not gonna leave it. Gosh dang. I'm probably gonna throw me a swim bait over that sucker.
I was gonna say crankbait.
Yeah, something moving. A
Either
moving
that,
bait.
yeah, crankbait.
I got swim bait. I'm throwing a swim bait over that sucker.
What,
I'm
what,
doing a
let's be
crankbait.
specific. What kind of swim bait?
I'm a big mag draft freestyle guy.
Maggie freestyle. Got it.
Well,
Yeah.
before I got a little technical glitch here. I can't tell who's talking. My screen's blank.
Sorry about that.
All right, who's throwing the mag draft?
Brad.
All right,
Pete's writing it down.
I'm keeping notes.
He's keeping notes.
We're giving you partial credit for these answers.
Partial.
All right, Brad, you're rolling in heavy wind, 20-degree temperature drop. You're going to stay with the brush piles. You're going to throw a mag draft swim bait. All right, what's the other solution?
I'm going with the jig still, and if they're not in the brush pile, they're gonna be around it.
Stay the course.
How
like
heavy
that.
of a jig are we
Absolutely.
talking?
Hey, we said that. Said we'd check it still.
Yeah.
They said if it. Okay.
You gotta try your primary
Yeah.
stuff first. There's always a backup plan if you need it. Plan B. But plan A is to throw that jig in that brush pile.
I like it.
All right,
I like it.
you want me to weigh in on this?
Yeah. Well, we need an answer. We need a decision, Pete. What
All
do you
right.
got?
You know, big swim bait, 20. Well, I feel like 20-degree temperature drop in the summertime is not gonna impact things in 12 to 20 feet of water that dramatically. Neither one of you guys really felt like it was going to matter either. So you get bonus points, both of you, for ignoring the temperature,
Ignoring the
as a
curveball.
factor in the summer. The wind is a great choice for a swim bait for the mag draft, as can be sunny conditions. That's a good choice to go to. But one of the things that I've noticed over the years is, man, when that wind blows and the light penetration gets low under the water, man, there's no better time than throwing a jig. So, Brock, you win this chance. You win this chance.
There it is.
The
Unreal.
jig always wins.
Hey, we said we would do
Stay
exactly
the
what we-
course.
Yeah, stay the course.
All right, we'll give
exactly.
him that, but we said we would do that.
Hit the
No.
curveball.
He said crankbait.
You said swim bait.
That's hilarious. It's awesome. All right, so that's one scenario, but this battle's
Hold
not
on.
over,
What-
Pete.
Hey, I got a question. Ignelli, what would you throw?
Well, I'd knowing it's me and the way I fish, I'd pick up a 2-inch worm. I'd run to a bridge and I'd catch 1 pound bass, but I'd catch like 50 of them.
Yeah. But
And all them
With your
haters
free-
they'd be throwing me shade on social media.
hey,
You know
with,
what I mean?
with them free entry fees, though.
Dude, whew.
Yeah.
I'm really good at catching 1 pounders, guys. Let me tell you.
Hey, those are one-pointers.
I'm telling
We
you.
got to.
I can catch a 1 pounder now.
And of course, Brian the Carpenter will tell you that I would definitely be just dropping Senkos on those brush piles.
Black Senkos. Black
That's
Senkos.
right.
Black
All right,
Senkos.
Pete, this battle's still happening. Scenario number 2 for these guys. We need to hear it.
Okay, I'm going to give you a scenario, and this is we've been talking about this because we just experienced it. But you're fishing riprap in the fall.
Rip rap.
Big ones are smashing wiggleworts. Imagine that. Is the winning team strategy?
Name Pete Gluszek? Or is it named Pete Gluszek?
Is the winning team strategy for both guys to crank when all the bites are coming that way, or to have one guy use alternate baits? And what's the winning strategy to get the biggest bag of fish off this stretch of riprap?
Rip rap. Rip rap. I like
Okay,
it. What
so
are the- what are the
I got a
conditions?
theory that I truly believe the biggest fish is doing something different. I don't know why, but every time we're fishing a main lake point, brush pile,
Rip
flat,
rap,
yeah,
rip
rip
rap.
rap, flipping channel banks, it doesn't matter. That big fish is doing something different. So always, like we said before, somebody's always throwing something different. Let the guy in the front do the work, guy in the back try to pick up that big one, whether he's on a shaky head worm or a jig, something different for sure. That's what we'd be doing.
All right.
All right. Well, here's my Brock's thought is if they're biting the wiggle wart, somebody's the guy in front's going to be throwing the wiggle wart since he can do more of a 45-degree angle, and the guy in back's going to be flipping either a jig or a Texas rig on that riprap with a lightweight, so he doesn't get hung up every 3 seconds.
Still get hung up, though.
And we'll still get hung up, and yeah.
All right. So pretty much we got the same answer from both guys for how to get the best out of that situation. One, targeting big isolated fish. I think that's a great point, Brad, but Brock, you're saying the same thing. So because you guys use each other's answer, you are awarded 0 points.
Oh, 0 points.
There's no winner.
Unbelievable.
No winner in this.
Good
one.
take
Wait a
over
minute.
the
We can decide this.
yeah.
Brad
don't like
said
this
jig
game.
or shaky head, and Brock said jig or Texas rig.
Well, I want to weigh in here.
Okay.
I like the fact that Brad specifically addressed that the biggest fish is always doing something different.
Mhm.
And with that in mind, he wanted the
Gonna
team to
get
do
it.
something different. For me, the better
All right.
answer came from Brad there.
BTC weighing in. He's
No
giving
offense,
the
Brock.
nod to Brad.
All right, there you have it, Brad.
That tie break. That still ties us.
That ties us. That
All
means
right.
there
We
has to
gotta
be a
have a
third.
tiebreaker.
That means has to be a third question.
Do we have a
Pete.
third question? You got another one teed up? Anybody got another one?
Mike does.
I do.
You do?
Yeah, I have one.
All right.
Of course he does. He always has
Of
something.
course. I have a real general scenario, and I'll let you guys flesh it out one by one. You're on Lake of the Ozarks. There are 8 freaking billion docks on that place, and it's a dock bite. How do you go about figuring out which docks these fish are on? How are you going to figure out the key docks?
Time of year. What time of year?
It's early fall. September.
Early fall.
September. Late
I
September.
know what this is. Early fall to me is September. Them biggins are dirt shallow. So I'm going to dissect them shallow docks like right kind of after. I wouldn't say like a big channel bend. Like you don't need 500 feet next to a flat. You want to have a little bit of depth to where those fish are pulling up, and these pockets are kind of main lake flats. And just a technique that I learned this year actually on them shallow docks. They use them dock floats on a catwalk as their laydown. So I approach I kind of sit off and flip the catwalk, flip whatever's around there, whether it be a float, a little brush pile, which usually is just the float. Flip that, and then I flip the backside of that dock and then get moving. And then as I'm going around, throw a spinner bait or something
Oh,
around the
come
dock.
on. You can't say what I was going to say.
They're focusing on them big gizzard shad.
That was my point. I was going to say the spinner bait in between.
These guys fish
Man.
together.
This is a real team we're here.
Can't divide these guys.
All right. Well, Brock, you're on the spot. Brad stole all your grade A juice.
I should be good. Can I go first? I'm going to say the transition bank where like the chunk rock meets the flats. And I would say that under the cables is your best scenario. You got to get back underneath where nobody's getting or where a lot of people aren't getting.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a risk, but you got to get a bite first before you can put them in the boat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I like. Well,
and
I
I'd
can tell
be
you this.
throwing it.
I like
Go
both
ahead.
answers. I like both answers I heard. I like both answers. I like, targeting dock. Instead of you see 1,000 docks, Pete, you got to start figuring out a pattern within a pattern. The exact kind of docks. I like the walkways. I like the idea of fishing in between with a spinner bait. I think that's great. The transition banks with the cables, dude, the cables are always, people hate those things. So to target that is very, very smart. And in the Ozarks, transition banks are really, really good. But the winning factor for me, and the only reason to say this is I'm saying it because of the time of the year, if this was the same scenario and it was pre-spawn, I would definitely say Cable's transition bank gets the nod if it's pre-spawn. But because it's fall I'm going to have to go with Brad on this one, with the spinnerbait being the kicker.
He
Couple
stole
bonus
that from
fish.
you.
Rock spinnerbait in his
Yeah,
hand.
the little gizzard shad special, you know?
Yes, sir.
So Brad is the Bass U battle champ. Congratulations.
Hey, he kicked my butt in the solo deal, so I'll take this one.
There you have it, man.
Well, it's really cool to listen to you guys talk. It's clear that you guys work together, fish together. You can hear it. You guys think alike. And one of the things that I think makes your team so good is that, and the fact that Brad, you're always talking about targeting big fish, and almost in all your answers here, it's all about targeting that the bigger fish, and that's such a huge component to working as a team. It's somebody on that team has always got to be thinking about that. Even maybe why the other guy is getting numbers or getting good average size, but somebody's mind's always on those big ones. I'm sure that's why you guys are so good.
Yeah, that's a big reason. I mean, when I first started tournament fishing, the goal was to catch a limit. Then that limit started getting 15 pounds, and then after that, kind of 15 pounds, which was this last year to us, it was like, we need to find the winning fish.
Daggins.
Yeah, like I said earlier, they're always doing something different. If you're catching a bunch of numbers in a 5-fish deal, you're going to have to go try to do something a little different and catch the better size fish. And that's kind of what we do and why we've been a little successful this year.
Right on. Hey, well, you know, we, normally we would say, Brad, you're the winner. We're going to send you a gift pack. We're going to send both you guys a Bass University care pack with some of the great Bass
Hey.
swag.
Hey,
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
appreciate it, guys.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show tonight, shining a little insight on what makes you guys successful as a team. And man, congratulations! You get to keep this title for a whole nother year. You're the best team in the world right now in professional bass fishing. So
That's crazy hearing it from you guys, too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That sounds great. I like the sound of that.
Hey, so we got the second place team coming up next, and the cool story about these guys is they caught them up on a crappie jig.
Oh, wow.
Rock about what do you,
True
True
statement.
story. Yeah.
I see the smirk. What's
that's
going on
scary.
there? Do you guys have any insight onto how that went down?
How we did?
No, how they did it.
Okay, so the craziest thing to that whole situation is, I don't know if they want me to tell you where it was exactly. Are you really?
Don't even
Okay,
say
I won't
where it
say
was,
that.
but tell them about
I'm
the roommates
literally.
and stuff.
Well, we gotta tell them that we were about to do the
Oh
same
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
We go to this creek, and there's a bridge back there, and it's like I got live scope, so I'm shooting in front of me, and for some reason it goes into a black wall, like it's like no water, and my boat is halfway in under this bridge, and I'm churning up mud, and I look at Brian, I'm like, screw it, ain't worth it. Turn around and leave. Don't think anything of it. Whatever. That day we go to the tackle shop, which is a gas station right there, and it's got a ton of stuff. Excuse me. Walk in there, and our roommates at the time, they got 8th, so they had a really good finish too. I'm not kidding you. It looked like they saw a ghost.
For real.
And it was like, are you all right? And they're like, we just found the winning fish. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, dude, 4, 5, 6, 7 pounders jumping all over this creek, blowing up, eating shad, and we cannot get them to bite. I'm like, you think that, you hear that, you're like, man, whatever. Are you sure they're bass?
Yeah.
Swear,
That's what we
man.
kept saying. We're like, they ain't bass, man.
It's like,
They ain't
swear,
bass.
we saw them in no water. They're like a half foot of water and dirt. And he's like,
And
we're buying crappie jigs to throw at them. I'm like, you guys are crazy. You're making this up. Like, we swear. I'm like, all right. So they had the idea of throwing crappie jigs at these fish, which actually ends up being the fish that the second place team found and caught on crappie jigs. And our roommates didn't even try to fish for them in the tournament.
What?
Unbelievable. I'm not.
we were back there and we pulled out, and the guys that got second, they were back there fishing just the.
That's how we
creek
knew
in
they were
general.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we knew they were there, and we talked to them at the solo deal and kind of not really made them, but got them to spill the beans, if you know what I'm saying.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy and actually our roommates the last 30 minutes of day 2 went in there and caught a 5-pounder
Yeah.
on a Ned rig.
but they only spent 30 minutes
Yeah,
back there. We're
they-
like, now you learned your lesson.
Yeah.
Luke, you're probably watching, bud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You
one of
should have
those
been
things that
back there
happens
day
like once
one
every 10 years.
swinging.
Yeah, it's crazy, unreal, amazing.
Well, we're going to be talking and finding out about how they did it with these crappie jigs, but you guys,
There you go.
guys bested
Yep.
them, and that was pretty amazing. We appreciate you guys coming on, tell us about it, and I expect when you get the Bass U swag to send me a pin of the Magic Dock. So that I can,
You're going to have to talk to my marshal. He's got a picture of it.
Yeah.
I told him to never forget it.
I'll be down at Lake Hartwell. I think it's September, October of this year. But no, that was great. It was amazing. Really appreciate you guys coming on, having fun with us, telling us the story.
Yeah,
and,
thank you guys.
Enjoy your year as the champs. Congratulations again, guys.
Congrats.
Thanks a bunch.
We'll see you guys.
Yeah, you guys rock.
See you
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Brad and Brock, everybody.
All right.
Yes.
That
You
was-
got to gel, man.
Man, they have a good relationship. You can tell
Yeah.
just by talking to them. They have a good, they gel well together. So
First year, too.
you got to have that.
Yeah.
Their
gotta have
first
that.
year together.
Yeah.
And then they still like each other. That's pretty cool.
They do.
You know.
They do. As of right now, it's only been a year.
I know. You know how that relationship. You've been 14 years.
Yeah, I think it was.
It's hard to do.
I was 19 years old when I started fishing
Yeah.
team tournaments with Matt. So it was 14. Maybe this is the 15th coming up, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that was a great deal. I really appreciate him coming on. But I guess we're going to take a break right now.
We're going to take a break. Before we take a break, let's catch everybody up with some of the stuff that we're doing and giving away. And I want to remind everybody, too, Pete, I just want to say in general, listen to me. If you're watching right now and if you know someone, dude, it's the holidays. There cannot be a better time than to get a subscription to Bash U. If it's for your buddy, your uncle, your cousin's friend, Nick's nephew's Jason, Jason's aunt Ophelia, anybody like that. Holidays is a great time to give this gift, which is the gift of fishing education. Pete, we got a special gig going on here right now. Talk to us a little bit about it.
For all annual subscribers,
It is.
we've got a $60 gift pack. Includes the Bass University hat, Bass University Sun Shield, 2 Rapala DT6s, and the Ike Quotient tackle box. This is all coming. You subscribe annually. You can give it as a gift. We have gift cards available on the site as well to give as gifts, and you can also try it for 30 days for free. So we're going to be talking a lot more about team tournaments. So if you guys haven't subscribed, you want to try it for free right now, go over to bashu.tv and use the code BULive30, and you're going to get 30 days free. You can come over and get on the IM board, ask questions, and win some of these cool prizes. And we're going to be giving away a lot more stuff the rest of this evening. So come back. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes, and we're going to be talking about how to catch the 26-pound bag with a crappie jig.
Crappie jig.
Yeah. We'll be right
Shallow
back.
cranking,
Bass
and
rod.
I'll just get right into the juice. The rod is your main deal when you start throwing a crankbait. Like Gerald was talking about earlier, even with the bigger crankbaits, they've built the rods now, the glass rods that have the parabolic bend in them. And the reason, I get asked on social media a lot, why you like the parabolic bend? It's just because you're using treble hooks, and when you're cranking, you want that fish to be able to bite that bait, and you're not immediately ripping it out of his mouth. So that rod lets the fish load up on the bait before you're totally snatching it out of his mouth. And it really didn't, I didn't know if it even made sense to me or not, but of course Kevin Van Dam was doing it, so heck, I thought I would try it too. So, and it works. I mean, it works. And this rod here is the one I use the most. This is the St. Croix 610 medium heavy legend glass. I think it's like a $200 something rod. It's an expensive rod, but it is so sensitive when cranking that it's worth it to me, because when you're cranking shallow, there's all the time, there's limbs, there's sticks, leaves. A lot of time in the fall, there's leaves on top of the water, leaves that's floating under the water. So you want a rod where when you're cranking, you can feel when your bait gets fouled up. So some glass rods you get, when you start making them out of fiberglass, they're not as sensitive as graphite. So this one's mixed, graphite and fiberglass both. So it's got a real sensitive feel to it when you're cranking. Like, example, this year on Martin, or I guess last year, the Elite Series tournament on Martin, Martin has a ton of silk and stuff on the bottom. So when you're cranking, you're constantly hitting that stuff. So you want to be able to feel, you want a rod that you can actually feel when you get your bait fouled up when you're cranking. So like I said, a lot of glass rods, you can't really feel that good with it. And when you're just cranking, and if you cranked it all the way back in, and then you got a bit of a black leaf about that long in front of your bill, I mean, it just gets on your nerves. So get you a rod that you can feel really well with, and when your bait is not doing exactly what you want it to do, then you'll feel it, and you can just give it the old-fashioned twitch and get the leaf to come off of it 90% of the time. So that's that's my first part of the slide there. The number one piece is the rod. And like I said, this Legend Glass, St. Croix made it. I've used every cranking rod out there that I know of, and I can honestly say this is my favorite one. It's light. I mean, it's a lot. Y'all let y'all feel it here in a little bit. You need to come up and feel how light this rod is. The reel, and another reason you want it light is when you're cranking, you're making tons of casts. So if you got a real light rod, 610, so it's not long, it's real light, and that's what you run into a lot of times with glass rods too. They're a lot heavier. So they got this one perfect. The weight of it, I mean, I just love it. I don't know how else to say it. I just love it. I mean, you can tell I've used this one a ton. Used it yesterday when I was fishing on Smith. But the reel I use is always just a 6.4. When I'm shallow cranking, 6.4 to 1 gear ratio reel. And a lot of times people say you want a faster one for shallow cranking. I've come to learn that the 6.4 to 1 is perfect. So because you can speed it up and you can slow it down. A lot of times, you know, if you get to cranking in the spring or early spring when the water's 50 degrees, you're going to have to slow your reel down. So if you're using an 8 to 1 and you get to catching one, and then the next cast you jacked up and you're reeling and you may not catch another one. So you just use a 6.4 to 1. That's what I just use across the board. I don't hardly ever change it. That way, if I have to slow down, I can slow it down. If I need to speed it up, I can speed it up, so you can go both ways with it. And if you use a 5 to 1, I just can't get the square bill to go deep enough. Like, it feels like I'm just working too hard to get it. So 6.4 to 1, I just got it down to where it's like it feels perfect to me. Like, I just got used to it, and I feel like that's the best one. And we'll just go through the complete setup before we get started on the time of year and stuff. The line I use, 12 to 20 pound Seaguar Brazex. Seaguar makes a Brazex. It's for when your line is running across stuff. So of course, when you're shallow cranking, you want your crankbait to hit stuff, so your line's going to be hitting it before your bait does. So I like the Brazex because it handles a little bit more abuse. Line size, the size of it, 12 to 20 pound. 90% of the time I throw 12 because I want my square bill to go as deep as it can. But the time I would change it would be if I'm fishing like riprap and I'm having to burn it into the riprap, like just burn it. Rocks destroy line. There's no question about it. It didn't matter what kind of line you use, rocks are going to destroy it. So if you're having to use 12 to get your bait down there, when you're hitting them rocks, it's just tearing it up. So you're either going to have to retie a lot or go up to 15. So I'll try 15 and try to make longer casts and try to get the bait down. Because if you're fishing riprap, usually you can make some long casts and fishing rock. So I'll go up to 15 every now and then. And then the only time I ever go to 20 is like if I don't want my square bill to dive deep. So if I'm cranking in 2 foot and I still want to use like a 1.5, a crankbait that goes 4 to 6 foot, and I want the bait to stay in 2 to 3, I'll go up to 20. And it also dulls down the action of your bait too. So if you feel like you don't need a bunch of action, and you only have a certain amount of baits. Like when I growing up, I didn't have maybe 2 or 3 styles of crankbait, so you had to make each crankbait do 2 or 3 different things. That's what I had to do. So I still do it today. Even on the Elite Series, I still, whatever I can do, just something a little different. So when you use that 20-pound test, it'll make a flat-sided crankbait even bigger.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bass University Live, our Christmas edition. What a blast it was to talk to those guys. The team tournament, the whole thing is just fun, JK. It's competitive, but man, it's just a lot of camaraderie. Those guys, you could just see it, them connecting with each other. Man, it's just a lot of fun. It's inspiring me. I want to fish more team tournaments this year.
Yeah, you should. You really should. You got partners back there too.
Yep. Yeah, we got lots of derbies. Well, me and BTC.
Let's do this.
We have one tournament under our belt with a strong second place finish.
That's right.
Where we almost died.
Hey.
trying to get under the bridge.
Hey, whoa, we don't talk about those things. We do not talk about those things.
Oh, that was still scary. I still get the
Yeah?
chills thinking about
Pete,
that.
Oh, that was an easy one.
Is that right?
Oh God, yeah.
Ugh.
We went with the flow. Try bucking the current.
I've learned to love those skinny water runs
Uh-huh.
on the Delaware. Like Brian will tell you, like when he first started taking me into some of those spots, like the first year, I was like white knuckles, like super tight, nervous.
Yep.
Second year around, 16 months into the boat, I'm just up on pad, just running, just skimming the water.
That's awesome.
fun. I like it.
Yeah. And you got it. It helps you be more efficient when you can do
Yeah.
it that way,
Yep. Yep.
But I know, Brian and I were getting into a backwater and the tide was rising and there was like 2 inches of clearance and the tide
Above
was
our heads.
Above our heads that would smash us against a concrete
Yeah.
bridge, drown us for
Literally
sure.
crush you.
Yeah, there was no escape, and if things went wrong, and
Sounds like a BTC spot.
yeah, and we got in there and we just smashed the pants off the fish that day.
We got a new host in the second segment.
Yes. Oh, we do.
Yeah, that's right.
There he is.
We have the unicorn we've been looking for.
We found a way to make Mike quiet.
Well, I'm glad to have JK here with us, and Mike had to step out, but
He's got the turkey trots.
we're glad to have the unicorn with us. in his stead.
Speaking of losing one of our members here of the cast, I got a good question. If you guys are ready for it, and it
Let's
kind of
roll.
pertains to somebody stepping out. Josh G would like to know, when your normal fishing partner cannot fish a tournament, do you prefer to fish it solo or do you find an alternate?
That's a really good question, and I immediately all kinds of things popped into my head.
That's right.
Number one,
Depends where.
It depends where. It depends on how. Like a lot of times in team terms, you're trying to protect your structure, the cover that you have found over the years, secret brush piles, little rock outcroppings, magic docks or whatever it may be. So when you're selecting a new partner, you want to be cautious that you're not going to be giving away to the farm on your stuff. So if I had to select a partner if I had that kind of patterns that I was worried about, I would still pick somebody, but I might pick them from, try to get them from an area, from a group of people that don't necessarily compete on those bodies of water or something like that, if that's a concern of mine. And, the other thing is you also want to be able to get somebody that you can work well with. And it's not that easy to do. There's been times when I felt like fishing by myself, would be an asset. But there's no doubt in team tournament competition, especially if you're trying to win that tournament, it always happens. That second angler is going to get the bigger bite, or he's going to get a certain key fish that you would have never got. So, I'd err in trying to find another person to fish with, if at all possible, and hopefully it's something you can pick somebody that works well with you. But have you been in that situation, JK?
Yeah, we're in that situation this year. So normally with our team trail, we don't fish the whole season. It's really tough too with both the jobs that we've had. But winning the first one of the year, we're out front in the AOY race, and they do it by total weight. So we've got a couple pound lead or more. And I'm looking at the schedule with my job and with Bass U and stuff. It's gonna not allow me to fish every event. So we're gonna have to choose an alternate and for at least 2 events, I think. And the rules state to be able to qualify for AOY, you just have to fish 5 of the 8 together, but the alternate can't be somebody different every single time. So we want to find somebody that, one, is not competing on the water like you say, and it's usually one of 2 guys, which is Matt's dad or my buddy Steven, which you met Steven on our El Salto trip.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Steven's not out there competing all the time, but he's a proficient angler.
Mm-hmm.
We've won 2 or 3 tournaments together when he's filled in for Matt before. So, and Matt and his dad have won tournaments together too. So that's kind of like our little network, and we don't get outside of that. And Matt and I don't fish with anybody who we're competing steady against. It's almost like an unwritten rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, because it brings up a thought in my mind is, that's the real benefit of fishing team tournaments is the camaraderie, the closeness of the two guys.
Well, the other
but what
thing-
you don't get
Go ahead.
is fishing with other people. You don't get that exposure of techniques that another guy might try, or if he's experiment was like when you fish individual tournaments, you're constantly getting exposed to that with your co-angler who can drop shot a different technique you've never seen, or come out with the micro jerk bait or something like that. So the team tournaments do isolate you a little bit.
They can, like J.K. said, they keep it exclusive, almost like they're dating, right? And I get that, because that's how I would be when I had my champion and Brodzik had his Ranger and we were fishing the Delaware. That's all I fished with, and we didn't fish with anybody else because spots matter. I can imagine that on the flats somewhat, but it's a little bit more community down there. The other option is, like when me and you fished, is you just took me to all your junk spots and didn't show me any juice. So you can always do that. You can always fish for second.
Well, we know what happens when he shows somebody their juice. His juice.
All the fish get relocated back to Lake X.
Oh no, that's not me. That's that fellow who just left now. I got another one from Travis Gasper, and he wants to know, do you have any tips for turning around a bad mood on the boat so that you and your buddy can work better together?
Wow.
That's a good one.
Man, that is an amazing thing, because we talked about this, when things are going great, it's a big love fest. But when things are going south and you've got to right the ship, that's when the team tournament, the partnership really, becomes exposed. And it's important to be able to keep everybody in a positive mood, not upset everybody. And, I think it's really, really important. I know, you fish a ton of these team tournaments, JK, and you've got to be running into this situation a lot.
Sure.
Where one of you guys is getting spun out.
Yeah, I think we're so far into this now. We've seen the as bad as it's ever going to get, and we've seen as good as it's ever going to get. So we're at the point now where I think we're pretty even keel with stuff. But there's definitely some things I've done throughout the years, like with Matt. So I'm the talkative one, and Matt doesn't talk very much. He's laser focused and yeah, whatever, But we get along great. And he tunes me out when he needs to tune me out. You know me, I'm a thinker. I'm putting the pattern together the whole day. I'm talking it out loud though.
Mm-hmm.
And but there's been moments where we've lost a big fish, or man, that one stings, where a 7 or 8 pounder goes flying through, and you lose a $4,000 fish. I mean, we've had a handful of those. So one of the best things I've done is let about 10 minutes slide, and then if it just feels like there's this negative aura going on in the boat, just I like to sing, so I will just start singing Celine Dion at the top of my lungs or something crazy out, and just
You
put a
didn't
little
sing today.
comedic effect
Yeah.
into the boat, and just because you can't help but laugh when somebody just starts doing something
Could have
funny.
used that today.
I think we'd like to hear a
Sorry,
few bars
Brian.
right now.
Sorry, Brian. You did not get the best partner today.
We're here now.
We're here now. Well,
I was not
I'm
feeling
feeling
good
a
at
little
all.
down,
I'm
right?
here,
I'm
you're
feeling
here.
a little down right now. I could use a little cheered up.
We'll interject it when you truly are. I promise you, I'll pull that out.
Putting him
But,
on, and I'm putting him on the spot because I know he's got pipes. I've heard them. He can get that done. So
Well, shout out to Matt, my team partner.
Yeah.
He really likes Celine Dion. So
yeah. It's a great question, Travis,
It
and
is.
we're going to send you something here
Yeah,
from
we're
Bass
gonna
University.
send him an RTD rod threading device.
Awesome.
And on that note, Pete, do you think you can give us a little
Let-
show of how it works here?
It's a little tricky for me to do here.
We're gonna
in the
do our
studio,
best.
but I'm gonna show you how this works and what this is all about. This is the RTD rod threading device. It was introduced to me at iCast a few iCasts ago. It's a really creative way to thread the line through the eyes of the rod, and I think that's it's really ingenious in what it can do and how effective it can be, especially for, situations where you're in rough water, situations where you're like me, where you need to have your reading glasses on at all times. It can help you get through the rod threading in a snap. And you run into it when you're on the water, like when I'm having to retie, when you break off. It's so many situations you're having to redo your rod out in the weather on the spot, and this little device is really cool. And you just line it up with the eyes, the front of the eye at the front of the device, and it's all beveled to help you go through. I just had to flick the bail there, so it's got a little bevel that you direct it into, and it's got a needle that just helps you thread it right through that device, or right through the eyes there. And you can go right through the eyes all the way up the rod. I'm trying to do this here sitting in my chair. And this is one of the cool things about it that I really like. When I'm threading and you get up to this part, you can see my arms are all stretched out. So now I've got to reposition the rod, and I've got to come back up so that I can keep working up the rod. Every time, this is where I lose the line. It slips out of my fingers and it runs right out through the rest of the eyes. But with the rod threader, you can just keep going. And you can just keep going right all the way up and out, and you've threaded your rod.
How about that?
It's ingenious. I don't have much experience using it because I just got mine a little while ago. I was introduced to them at the Classic, but they're just getting out and hitting the market strong. So I've got it now, and you can see with just very little experience, no experience at all using it, and you can just zip right through the rod threading experience. So it's a great gift for an angler that is getting up there in age, can't see that good. It's a really efficient tool for an angler in a tournament scenario that needs to move fast, and you can do it with this device. It makes it really cool. And we have, Riz, what's the promo we got going on with RTD right now?
The promo that we have going on right now with RTD is from Erupt Fishing. Get the RTD rod threading device for 30% off using the code at checkout, RTD. So when you check out at eruptfishing.com, use code RTD, all capital letters, RTD.
And if you guys are listening on iTunes, you didn't get to see that demonstration, but it's a device. It's about 3 inches in length. It uses a line pinching,
like a drop shot,
just like a drop shot weight. And you just simply get your line into that line pinching part of the device. It has a needle and beveled edges on this plastic tool that help you find the eyes of the rod, and you can just fire. You can just thread a rod in seconds with this. It's an amazing tool.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, if you don't need one now, you're probably gonna at some point. I hate to admit it. Yeah. But I'm like 47 now, and I can't see shit.
Yeah.
Especially in the garage when it's dark and there's a lot of shadows.
Yeah.
I have a hell of a time with bad lighting. Just in close, my eyes go fuzzy.
Yeah.
There's the readers right there.
Yeah.
Coke bottles.
Yeah.
They call me Bubbles in the group text.
And it's also, like I said, it's also good for guys just for efficiency in tournaments.
Yeah.
When you got to move quick, you don't have time. And with this, you can be right up through, especially because usually when you got to use it in a tournament, you just broke off a big fish or just lost a $100,000 lure or something like that. So you're not in a good mood to begin with. So it's good to have a device that can help you get back to it.
The next device they need to make is one that ties a braid to fluoro leader.
Yes.
Like that, real quick, like.
Real quick, like.
Well, and it's something that. It doesn't take long to get your muscle memory to really figure that thing out.
That's right. A couple of times.
Yeah, a few times in, and you're really proficient with it. It's like great for guys with bad eyesight, but a lot of disabled guys, a lot of people who
cold weather. Oh, dude.
Yeah, cold weather.
I don't want to admit
that
either.
After you catch a big one and you want to what are you doing after you catch a big one? If you're like me, your hands are shaking.
Yep.
You can't You can't get it through
That's
the
another
first guide.
That's another reason.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. But I tell you what, it's the holidays. It makes an amazing gift. I guarantee you, your angler does not have one of these yet. And if he does, it's nice to have a spare that you can put in your boat or in another tackle box. So, awesome little gift. So check it out from RTD.
And I got one more before we go to our guest here. This question comes from Bill Wassman, Wild Bill.
Yo,
Do
Bill.
you designate a live well manager to save time and be consistent during tournaments?
We just talked about that with the guys, with Brock and Brad, and they do. And I think that's really key. But for me, I want whoever's managing those fish. I want the guy that's catching them actively the best. I want him to be fishing. So I think it's important both guys to be able to do that job. Right. But when you've got a hot hand, he's rocking and rolling, you want to keep him in there. Don't make him stop to dig the jerkbait hooks out of the net. Don't make him, you want him back. You say, look, I got the net. I'm going to untangle this. I got the fish. I'm going to call. And you want to keep him fishing because moments, seconds matter in this game, so hot hand, you want to keep them rolling. And a lot of times, that means that one guy's managing the fish and so you can keep the other guy fishing. So I like that. But I also like both guys to be able to do that job.
Yeah, I mean, the way Matt and I do it, I'm the live well guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I fish in the back of the boat. Like I said, I rarely go to the front, but I do the live well. I cull the fish. The culling's on me, and with the keeping the hot hand thing, he doesn't. My partner Matt, I want to weigh the fish these days because I hate the culling beam. I hate all that stuff. So I've been using the Rapala scale a lot.
I've started to. I don't have the Rapala scale yet, but I'm a terrible cull guy. Like I'm bad. I've thrown the
Use
wrong
that
one back
scale, man.
more than once.
Riz,
And,
yeah.
go over to Rapala VIP and get a set of scales.
I'm going to.
You get like 40. You can get it for like 40% off as a Bass TV
Before
subscriber.
the next tournament of next year, I will 100% have it.
Yep.
Because I mean, admittedly so, and it's it's just one of those things. I get my brain gets so stuck on the fishing that I'm like, is it red or green or 1 or 2 or 6 and then I end up throwing a largemouth back when I got a paper thin smallmouth still floating around in the live well.
Matt's pushing me though. Like he doesn't even like me to weigh the fish. Like when we're in them, he's like, "Get your lure in the water."
Yeah.
Like, don't weigh that fish. What are you weighing that fish? They're biting for.
Yeah.
But I honestly think I save more time when I just pop it on the scale, and can put it in and just let me do my thing. And like, keep him in the water and just go.
And you got that's a great question, Wild Bill. What do you got, BTC?
Ready for our Skype guest?
What are we giving Wild Bill?
Wild Bill is going to get a Rapala DT10 and a Rapala Sun shirt.
Sweet.
Wild Bill.
Way to go, Wild Bill. Well, we have our second place finishers in the Bassmasters event that are going to be joining us. Are we ready to have them on just now?
Yeah, I think we should.
Oh, I'm ready to have them on. I don't know if you're ready. Are they?
We're connecting right
All right,
now.
we're connecting right now.
Keep talking.
All right.
And
We'll keep.
Yep.
Here
we go.
We'll keep talking. And Riz, do we got any IMs you want to fire? We already got them. Oh,
yep,
pause
not
that.
direct
That was quick. I thought we were going to have to kill, take another question or two. You guys are moving fast. Way to go. But we have the guys that took second place, and I'm tickled. Thanks, guys, for hanging in there. I know we went long a little bit, but we have Tim Penhollow and Casey Chusakill. I hope I got those names right, but thank you, guys. Thanks for coming on the show tonight.
No problem.
You guys just come off of a huge finish, and by the way, Mike says congratulations. Mike was a little under the weather, and he couldn't stay with us tonight, but he wanted to wish you guys congratulations too. And but man, you guys caught an amazing stringer of fish on Lake Hartwell in a very, very difficult time of year to catch a stringer of fish like that. I'm talking about the 26-pound bag. And you did it in an amazing way. So, first, congratulations on an amazing finish. But, man, I'm going to jump right in. Take us through how you did that, because I heard it was a very unusual technique.
Yeah, well, it was. It was basically accidental, really. We found. Brock and Brad told you they one of their friends had found those fish. We found the same fish, and we said the same things. We are like, "Are they bass? They're eating they're eating these little bitty shad, but they won't bite." And eventually, we caught one on a rattle trap to confirm they were bass. But then they were everywhere and wouldn't bite. And
for 2 hours,
yeah,
we couldn't get nothing to bite. I
No.
mean, it was just all around the boat, and we were so disgusted. And we need to bring us some crappie jig. This was the first day that we only came in with 8 pounds, so nobody was warned about us the second day. And I took my dad crappie fishing on that Friday when we took off for the tournament, and I knew I had a bag of crappie lead head, and I said, I got to find them. So we went back, and the next day we brought them with us, and we went back there with it, and we had some Deep Creek drop shot baits that we brought with us. So we ended up managing to get on the jig heads.
That's amazing. So you're using a 16th ounce, little tiny jig head, tiny bait.
If we showed you, people don't believe you anyway, so we'll show you.
that little guy there, which is all we had with us, was looked like a little minnow, but a drop shot rig, pinched it off, and it's what we had in the boat at the time, and we should have stuck with it through all 4 days. We thought we could do better, and this ended up being the best one, and they just wouldn't. It was out of frustration, and Kate was catching some on a little rattle trap, jerking at a rattle bait, and I couldn't get a bite on the rattle bait, and I'm kind of the finesser of the group.
Right.
So I had a flimsy speckled sea trout rod, a 7-footer that bends all the way down to the handle almost to catch sea trout, and put 6-pound test line on it. I just started throwing it in there and reel it, stop it, and I think when it stopped, it would stand on its head, and then would go again to stop, and then the line would just take off. And so they just started biting, and it was a melee when one would get hooked.
Yeah, we had to run around with them so much. You got the little light wire hook, so. But I mean, we brought these baits, the float and catch, and we had the goby minnows with us, and they were really for drop shotting. So it was an accident that we stumbled on these big fish to get them to bite that. And when we told the people that, they were like, "You guys ain't did that," and we didn't realize we even had that much. Did some kind of record right there. People say we broke the record. We don't even know if we did or we didn't. We were just happy to have that kind of stringer, but because we came from 100-something back to even have a shot.
we called a 20-pound limit, we figured, and a 17-pound limit.
Whoa!
Getting up to the 26 pounds.
Wait. You had at least 5 4-pounders that you threw back.
Yes, 5 4.5 pounders almost, really.
Yeah, between us, he threw 4, I threw 4 probably. Yeah.
It's funny when you're a local somewhere and you just know that that day is not out there for me. It's going to be somebody coming from out of town to find them in a place I never fish and catch them.
Well, at 12 o'clock when we finally weighed our smallest fish, and it was 480, and we was like, damn, we got over 25 pounds now. And so we was like, Tim was like, we need to leave the spot, so let's go find some new water. So I was like, yeah, I guess if we make it, but if we don't make it, then, we should just sit here and catch them. I said, everybody should be killing it. They biting like this for us. So we finally left and went on practice in a creek that we went to doing practice. We didn't catch any fish there. And he said, let's go back to that creek because now we know what they want.
It was just, you guys know, someone there knows what that place was. It was identical to it, just 5 miles away, but bigger in the back of a creek. And it was all the same.
Yeah.
And we pulled up, and I missed one right away on the jig, on the first little sandbar. And then Kay caught one on a rattle trap.
Yeah, a little one. Then the next one I hang, it was about 7 pounds. And we got that one in. We would have had almost 30 pounds.
Lost that one. Lost another big one.
Yeah.
And then I caught a big one on the jig again.
Yeah.
And we weighed it. It was a big long one, and we weighed it. And I was like, this has to call one. It was a 4.75.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, I guess we can't do any better, so we'll go in.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. And those all caught on that. And I could see that jig that you had there looked like the hook was bent out. The one that you were displaying just a minute ago. Did you lose that 7 pound? Did you lose that big one on that jig? Did you have any other mishaps?
That big one was on a trap and was green when it hit and went under the boat and pulled off. But we didn't have, the day we caught them all, every one that bit the jig somehow or another made it to the net. Don't know how. The first day of the fish off, which it came back, it's only a matter of time. And first day of the fish off, I lost a giant and then another good one. On it.
Wow. Well, it's not surprising. I mean, you guys did really good, getting all those fish landed. But those little small hooks, man, when you manage it properly, they can be super effective. Take us through that. Now you finished in second place, but now you got to go do the individual thing. And what happened there? Did those fish stay? I know you just said you missed a couple, but how did you guys split that water up, and how did you guys manage through the 2 days of individual competition?
Well, we were fortunate enough that none of the guys made it that were back there. So long story short, the first day of the team thing, we were in front of a culvert and there were fish schooling, and we wanted to catch a few before we went through. The guys that ended up in the lead the first day, they came up to the culvert and said, "You mind moving so we can go through?" We were just getting ready to go through. We moved out of the way, and we didn't want to be rude. We never went to those fish the first day of the team tournament. We should have been rude and went in there. So that's our fault on the team part. But other than that, there was enough of them in there. So we said, hey, let's go through it together. Kay said, I said, Kay, you pick. He picked the left. I picked the right. It was a pond. And they were in there that first day. They were boiling everywhere. And we just could not catch them. When they bit, we'd lose them. We both got frustrated. It was freezing. It was cold.
It was nasty.
So we got out of there and left.
I think we had he had 4.8. I had 4.6. So we ended up with the two smallest bag. And to make the second play, we had the biggest bag. So I'm like, dang, we went from the bottom of the thing. So, but the weather didn't help us because it needed some sunshine because they bit better when the sunshine was
But they were in there feeding.
They were in there feeding. They just didn't fight at all.
My marshal, which was funny, I had the power poles down. And they were feeding, and my marshal, who lives on the lake, and his son's a good bass fisherman, he was freaking out. And they were boiling all the way around the boat. And he said, and I heard somebody looked, and he said, "There's a 5-pounder feeding up against the motor between the power poles." And there was.
What the heck?
It was the craziest thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I imagine
I
this
would.
happening on my lake.
That's pretty.
It was crazy.
I know that it happened on the lake right under your nose, and that's the way it can often happen. Did you try downsizing from the crappie jig?
We couldn't get any smaller.
We talked about. I talked about. What's funny is that you heard they were so shallow when you would hook them. We were taking a long cast with that 6-pound test, and the boat was in the mud, and you were throwing 2 more mud, and when you would hook them, it was like you were fishing for bonefish with a fly rod. They couldn't fight. All they could do was take off left or right. And so you would stick them and they'd make noise. Mm-hmm. The line would go whoosh, and they would just fly off the flat and try to get to the 2 foot of water in the middle of the pond.
That's so
cool. It was the most amazing thing when you would stick them.
Yeah, I mean, it
was crazy.
To be able to catch fish that shallow in December, that's unheard of.
Yeah, water was 44 the last day from all that rain.
Wow.
The last day, the 4th day in, it had gotten 44 from that rain the day before.
Yep. Wow. Well, it's an adage that we talk about. There's a lot of seasonal pattern stuff on Bass University TV, but that time of year, it's all about the bait. And you find the bait, and you will find the bass. And it doesn't matter the water temperature or the depth. Even.
Was that pocket warmer than the main lake?
No,
it was colder.
It was colder.
It was the 2 degrees colder before that 35-degree day with pouring rain all day long. And then it had dropped from 49 to 44.
44, yeah.
When we pulled in there that last day, It was 44, and I somehow or another still caught 5 out of there that last day.
It's
And one
44,
big.
but they were in there wiling out on bait.
They had quit doing that. We saw a couple of them feed.
Yeah, they were just kind of rolling funny. It wasn't like they were that day when we got that big stringer out of there. They weren't feeding like that, because that day you actually seen the shad was just skipping across the lake
when they chase them. Yeah, blow up in them. It was pretty weird. It looked like you guys have all seen the back to see when there's carp in the shallow water.
Yeah.
Spooking. And I think those other guys thought so too, until we caught that one that first day in practice. We didn't know what they were. We thought they were carp feeding on shad. We couldn't tell. I mean, it was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen.
Well, that first day, I remember I did catch a carp, about a 7-pound carp on the rattle trap I had, and I ran around with the boat about 2 times with it before I realized it was a carp. When I brought it up, I was like, oh my God, I thought I had the monster bass, that first fish I caught, and I knew I had a bad day when I started with a carp.
We think there were carp in there feeding on them. It's weird enough to say, but he caught 2 that swallowed
the rattle trap. So I think the carp was eating on the shad, because there's no grass in that lake that we've seen where they can eat. So I guess they're eating on the shad. They got to eat something too, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, I think the carp were probably in there for the same reason the shad were in there. There was some kind of nutrients in the water, something coming into that part of the lake, and that's bringing that bait in there. And the bass were just going wherever the bait was going.
Yeah, it was wild. We caught a big striper. Last day I caught like a 15-pound striper in there.
Yep. And it's funny that you say that, because around here we see it too. When we get water temperatures down into the 40s, they get into their wintering areas, and when you get around the bait, you're foul hooking carp, you're hooking big gizzard shad. It's like the whole biomass is together that time of year. And you guys found that in that tournament and were able to capitalize on it. That was amazing, because I don't have any crappie jigs in my boat, and I'm going to have to start carrying them now.
We talked about it all the way home. We got to start having a little supply of of things like this, because it was the magic tool.
Well, what I think made the difference was because you still got an 8th ounce head, but the wire hook, it's a lot thinner, and if you got a bait that actually floats like this one does, so what it does when the head hits, it actually makes the hook stand when we stop it, and we drag it, and then it stops and it floats up a little bit. Because what we were fishing was actually mud. There was no hard bottom, so we actually needed the tail of the bait to actually shake a little bit, and that's when the bite would come. When you drag and stop, it would stop and just dance up a little bit. So the fish would grab it, and I think that was the key on it. I mean,
when you stopped it, as soon as you stopped
come up just like that,
your line would take off
and stuff. So that's because there was no hard bottom there, so it didn't make no sense. I mean,
well, I get that. That makes a lot of sense, getting that bait up, because in the soft, mucky bottoms, we deal with it down here too, that the baits can get lost in the muck. So that had to be a huge factor. You guys figured it out, and that was a cool deal. I hear from your accent. Are you from Louisiana? Where are you guys from?
No, we're from Central North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is I'm sorry, you have a heavy accent, Casey, and I thought you might be from that area. But this is a team tournament show.
Right.
I want to ask you guys, have you guys been fishing together long, and how did you guys get together?
Well, we worked together, I guess, 20-some years ago. And Tim was fishing. You guys remember the Red Man series?
Yeah.
He was big into that. He made the All-American, and I was just getting started in bass fishing, and I was always looking up to him. He would help me out every now and then by the time I got to where I think it turned to I started getting into the Red Man. He had quit, and I hadn't seen him. Then things happened, and we
always had different partners.
Yeah, we never fished together. We always fished against each other and stuff. And I think I quit fishing in '98, and then I got into bowling. I bowled professionally for a little while, and I quit in like 2010. And 2015, I bought a bass boat and got back into it. And I was looking up Tim. I said, I need to find this guy. So I finally found him. Almost 20 years, 15 years later. How long it's been?
Yeah. This is our
15
fourth. This was our fourth year
Yeah.
fishing together.
And I told him, I said, hey, man, look, man, I got a new boat. I said, let's put our heads together. We used to fish against each other, put our spots together. Let's go win some money. And that first year, nobody was able to beat us. We dominated the cat trail. I mean, with 6 of them, we finished in the money. If we didn't finish in the money, we won.
Yeah, we won 6 or 7 tournaments first year, and then
we've
been pretty consistent. We get along good. We just like the other guy said, we never fish the same thing. It doesn't matter if Kay's killing them on a crankbait. He's a great crankbait fisherman. If he's killing them on a crankbait, he's going to catch those fish on that rock pile on the crankbait or on the point. It doesn't. Why should I be throwing it? I'm going to pick up a shaky head or I'm going to do something else completely different because I think the big girl doesn't want what all the regular ones are eating. So in my brain, let him catch the 2 and 3 and 4 pounders on that day. If he's hot, maybe I'll sit back there and catch an 8 pounder and we're done. And so we do the same thing. If whoever's hot takes the front of the boat, if it's your day, and the other guy can cull. And that's the way we roll on every tournament.
And that's what makes it successful, I think. I mean, and we go to different lakes all the time and just come out of nowhere. And they're like, who's these two guys? Who are these two guys? Mm-hmm.
That's great. Well, it's clear you have the same thing in common, and we're hearing that. That vibe is like, man, you got to do something different, and you got to be able to complement each other. What do we got from the IM board, Riz?
I got a question from Mike O. He wants to know.
Go ahead.
I have a question from Mike O. I'm still not on, Brad.
No?
I have a question from Mike O for the 3rd time, and he would like to know how long do you guys fish specific baits before you decide to change it up and throw something different?
I'll fish a bait all day long if I think one's going to bite it. But Kay will go ahead and figure something out. I usually don't figure it out. I'm usually pretty stubborn. I'm like, I feel like this is what's going to work for me today. But Kay's different. He'll go ahead and keep.
I usually keep a search bait in my hand. I like to crank. I'll keep a moving bait. Once I locate and get a bite, we'll whip that boat around and we'll work at that 100-yard stretch and make sure we didn't miss something. I try to locate some fish, but if we know the fish are in there, we'll go ahead and try to pick it apart.
Throw a few different baits in there before you leave once you find them.
Yeah.
One of the things I noticed is about fishing as a team is I can move more efficiently as a boat. Like if I'm like when you and I fished together, Justin, like we were going down Rip Rap and I felt like I could move the boat a little bit more efficiently because I had another person with me that was very capable. Like especially when we were both cranking. So
Thanks, Pete.
You can cover the water faster, and I thought that's, of course, that doesn't apply to Mike O's question. But I tell you, with Mike O, the deal is about how long do you stick with a bait. We get that question all the time, and I'd like to answer it depending on the conditions. If the conditions are going away from you, water temperature falling, muddy water, you got to stay with the baits a little bit longer, I find, to be able to eliminate them. But when you got positive fishing conditions, when it's warming water and fish are biting, they should be biting. If what you're throwing's not working, you need to change fast because you got to get to that tool that's working really well.
Yeah, I want to say something, and Matt would probably think this is too special and want to shoot me for saying this. But
yes, the good stuff.
Here it comes.
I say in the winter, cold weather periods through the spawn, you don't have to be going through a lot of different baits. And that's when you kind of can focus on your confidence bait, whatever that is, and you can grind out bites all day long on it. In the summer, when post spawn hits in that summer, and then into the fall, that's when you can set a 30-minute to an hour alarm on your phone to say, okay, it's time to do something different. Okay, time to do something different. That's kind of how we roll and how we think. But It works.
It's a good because in the winter, the cold water, there's a series of baits that just work best in the cold water.
Right.
And I know Van Dam has taught with us before, and he's got a 10-minute rule
I do.
that
I
he
do
goes
15.
through. And
15 is my rule on the flats. Like if I don't get a bite within 15, I don't
Yeah.
change baits. Because it's
Yeah.
out there. A lot of times it's specific baits that we use that are effective.
Mm-hmm.
When the grass gets up. But if I don't get a bite within 15 minutes, I'm going to the next waypoint.
that's an aggressive way to fish, and I've seen him do that. He never stops moving.
But he never picks up a spinning rod either.
Saw it today.
That's why
Live it in action.
That's why he lets Mike fish with him from time to time. So he has a spinning rod in the boat. Mike, what are we sending Mike-O?
Mike-O is going to get a Bass University T-shirt.
Excellent.
Yep. And I got another question that's really interesting, and I'm very interested to hear the answer to this one from Matt E. When you guys are fishing together, this is for KC, and I'm sorry I forgot KC and Tim. How do you manage your tackle situation in the boat since you're not necessarily in a co-angler situation? Do you share a rod locker? Do you share your storage compartments for your tackle, or do you still use the approach of bringing separate tackle bags and splitting it up that way?
And I want to add to that. Do you share rods?
Oh yeah.
Great
Kay's got his boat. At this point right now, Kay has a boat. It's full of rods, full of gear. I bring my handful of favorite rods. I bring my garbage bag full of favorite lures. Stick it in my one compartment.
He literally brings a garbage bag.
Yes.
He's not lying. He's not a tackle bag. He's a garbage bag.
over the bag. I bring my garbage bag full of gear, throw it in the boat, and that gets some laughs going through the parking lot. But then basically after that, I know Kay. In that case, I know Kay has everything, and why clutter the boat up? With all that stuff that you're kicking around. How many rods do you really need during the day? I bring a rod that I can throw a spinnerbait or jerkbait on. So basically, I'll bring a rod that I can use 2 different lures on. And instead of bringing 8 rods, I bring 4 rods. And if I need another one, he's got 20 of them, right?
I keep plenty. So there'd be times where he needs something. He says, "I'm gonna use your rods. Go ahead. I'm not throwing it. Pick it up and throw it. We already have it up there." But I keep the back compartment always empty. So because I do a lot of draw tournaments for co-anglers, so it's always empty anyway. I don't put nothing in it. So Tim uses that with his garbage bag, puts it in and pulls the tackle out every time. But I think he finally got him a tackle box this year. I think his wife.
Yeah, I got a tackle box for the.
So I haven't seen him use it yet. No, he did use it. He did use it in the final fish off.
Yeah, Bassmaster Championship.
He finally used it.
I pulled out my tackle box.
Well, Tim, right now you can load up on Flambeau at 40% off on for Bass U subscribers.
I saw that earlier. I'm super excited. I hope my wife's watching. By the way,
makes a great gift.
Seriously,
makes a great gift. Wives, girlfriends, significant others. Everybody wants Bass U TV. It really helps guys learn a lot fast. And I love what you talk about working out of a trash bag, but I can't tell you how many times I work out of a Walmart bag. I catch every fish, every check I've gotten in the tournaments. It seems like I'm working out of a Walmart bag or a Tackle Warehouse bag that I just loaded up with gear.
Tackle sack, they call them.
Yeah, that's you got a whole boat full of gear, but man, it's the hottest stuff you just got overnighted.
You only got one of them. Yeah, we know.
And congratulations, Matt! You won yourself a mag draft for that question.
Sweet.
Megabass mag draft swim bait.
What? That's very cool.
I was hoping you wouldn't give that away.
Do you guys have any keys to what's the best advice on how to pick a good tournament team partner?
Sense of humor. You have to have a similar sense of humor.
Yeah, you got to think the same, have the same sense of humor. You got to be willing to. If Tim makes a bad choice or I make a bad choice, I can't be mad at him. If I get in a boat with somebody, I don't care how good a friend we are. If we don't get along fishing, I'm not gonna fish with you again in the team tournament. That's just what I am. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Once I find a good partner, I stick with him because I think he actually is the second guy or third guy I fish with since I've been fishing my whole life. You
have to get along on more fronts than the fishing, obviously. But you have to like each other, I think. But other than that, you have to think you have to fish similar, but different at the same time. I think that's what makes really, really successful tournament partners is, you have to have similar ideas, but at the same time, something has to click during that particular day to make the magic happen, right? And it's just the way it is. You have to be the same, but a little bit different as far as your fishing styles go.
Well, tell me about this. How do you guys deal with? Do you guys room together? Do you guys like one guy snore and you got to get separate rooms? How does all that stuff work out? How do you manage all the details with the boat? Do you split all that, like launching and wiping the boat down? Is that important? Part of being a team.
Absolutely, yeah. Kay will tell you, but splitting everything, including, I think a lot of teams have problems because, maybe one guy doesn't front half the money for whatever reason that may be. There might be legitimate reasons for that, but it's, I think some people don't realize, owning
a boat is expensive.
That's all on him, and he likes to fish really shallow water more than I do, and he goes through. I don't know. This is the first tournament we haven't knocked a motor off probably in 4 years. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I about knocked one off without hitting anything the first time. I stripped the last day of the fish off. Both boats just like stripped. It sounded like a gunshot go off. I thought I lost the motor in the back. It was hanging off the back, just with two boats and the hydraulic cables. I was like, oh my God, we're sinking. It was crazy. That was kind of scary out there. But I didn't hit nothing though. I didn't tear nothing up this tournament.
we share everything 50-50. Of course, I'm not going to pay for the breakdown on the boat this weekend. But other than that, I try to pay. I think I try to pay sometimes a little more for the fuel. Every once in a while, maybe a couple more bucks for the tournament. But all those other expenses that he's incurring as the boat owner, it would be, people need to think about that. When you're talking about team tournaments, a guy that doesn't own that boat needs to think about that.
That's a fact.
Thank you for saying that.
Yep.
That's a fact.
I think that's the absolute key. And we're going to hook you guys up with some Bass U swag. So we'll make sure we'll get your contact information so we can send that out to you guys. And I appreciate you taking the time to hang with us, tell us your story, inspire us all to throw crappie jigs.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
What was the name of that bait that you had on the back?
It's the floating catch by Deep Creek. It actually was made for a drop shot. And if you look at it, you hook it on the nose. So when I went to Lake Hartwell, I was told I got to catch spots. I got to catch spots in Lake Hartwell, and we couldn't catch no big spots. So
because we suck at it.
Yeah. So we said, let's find the muddiest water, the shallowest water we can find. Let's go try to catch some largemouth. What we're good at, and that's what we ended up doing. And we should have done it both days the same way, and we might have won the thing.
Hey, well, that's a sweet little bait. Actually, when you hold it up, man, it looks just like a shad or a minnow of some kind.
And the good thing is, it's made right here in our hometown, Dunn, North Carolina, and it's made in USA, and it's got smells with the garlic scent, Asian garlic.
It's terrible. It'll ruin your boat.
I think the fish can't stand the smell; they just got to eat it.
That's right.
Well, it's funny. It's funny. You just kind of stumbled on that, but man, I can't tell you how important scent is in the wintertime in the cold water scenarios. And that scent coming out of there may be equally as important as anything that you were doing to catch all. I
was spraying mine down with Bang because the garlic smelled so bad. I was trying to kill it with Bang.
you were combining scents.
Yeah, they didn't know if I was coming or going.
I like it. Well, hey guys, congratulations on a second place finish. So such a great event. Keep up the good work, team tournament fishing. I appreciate you taking the time to come with us on Bass University, and wish you the best of luck the rest of the season.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Scott.
Appreciate it.
Have a good holiday, guys. Thanks a lot.
You too.
You too.
The second place guys should have won that thing. Oh my gosh, they were around the winning fish to win.
Oh my God.
Oh, they would have crushed the field.
That's crazy.
They culled a 17 and a 20-pound bag on the
one
same day that they caught 26.
What a day. What an amazing day.
That's not possible.
on Lake Hartwell.
Hey, Jake,
That's crazy.
it felt like today when we were in the back of Sunset and there were fish popping everywhere, and we couldn't get bit. When they talked about being around those fish and
Yeah.
not being able to get them to bite, I swear there was a number of those fish that were bass that were active
Oh yeah,
back there.
I know I had bass bites.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not from South Jersey, but that water was fresh mud.
Yeah,
Riz and Mike caught a fish apiece,
yeah,
and there was one other fish weighed in.
yeah. It was a tough day.
There
Yeah.
were some hammers. There's a guy who won 12 grand at the local level here.
Shout out to Connor Cahill.
The dude won 12 grand and dominated this year. He caught nothing.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like today was like one of the most brutal conditions I've seen.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
Let's put it blunt.
And
Well,
you can't just like
it's
run
tough.
17 miles and go find some clear water like
I mean, we
came
did
back
have the
home.
Torpedo, but there wasn't 17
Well,
miles
there's
to go
90
to.
acres.
We covered
Yep.
them all.
You guys were stuck with cold, muddy water and having to just duke it out, and that's a challenge. There is no doubt.
Yeah, I snagged a couple of gizzard shad, and that was all that I was able to do.
I still think I could have caught them on a buzzbait first thing when they were popping like that.
Yeah,
They
or,
were
or
all
a wake
looking-
Did you
bait.
not have a buzzbait?
No. I came
Why
up here
the
from
hell would we have a
Georgia.
buzzbait in the boat in December?
I didn't
You know
have
what I
any
mean?
of my tackle, man. I just
Hey.
was rolling.
Woody always threw that in the winter derbies when
It's
I
2
fished
feet
against
deep,
them,
man,
and we
they
catch some.
they were up in the
Yeah.
column,
Yeah.
and they were. I
Yeah,
mean, dude,
where's
I know
Woody
I
at
could
now?
have caught one on a buzzbait.
I don't know where Woody is.
Exactly.
Haven't seen him for a while.
There you
I'm just
have
gonna
it.
go ahead and say they probably wouldn't have eaten a buzzbait.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that
but you
that
know what? I would think
mindset's
like-
pretty horrible.
They
Like-
might have. You're right.
A wake bait or something. I don't know about a buzzbait. That's a little bit
I've
fast.
caught a buzzbait fish in 46-degree water down south where they're not used to that kind of cold.
Yeah.
It's about the water column, guys. Bass don't give a crap about anything but bait.
Yeah.
If the bait's up, they're going to look up to eat it. If it's down, they're going to look down to eat it. They're conditioned to do one thing
Never
unless it's the
looking up.
spawn. That's eat.
And they were looking up.
It's all about the water column they're feeding it.
Yeah.
Well, next time, bring some buzzbaits. What do we got left on our agenda tonight?
We have a grand prize.
Grand prize.
That we're going to be giving away. It's going to be a TH Marine Hydrowave.
Yes.
If we are ready for that, I'll go ahead and announce the question.
What do you think?
About the question?
Yeah. You ready to do this?
Oh, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
Do you have the question back there? I don't
We
have
do.
it on my notes.
We do it. Well, it's relative to tonight's show.
Okay.
So you had to be watching.
Awesome.
And in order to win this, we are broadcasting tonight on our website, Facebook, and YouTube. But you have to be on our website and on our message board on our website.
So, hey guys, if you haven't done it, do it right now. You get a chance at winning this Hydrowave. But
Yeah.
it's an amazing program that Mike and I and Justin and everybody a part of Bass University, we are tireless in putting together content that truly helps anglers, whether you're just getting started, whether you've been doing this for a few years, or you're even an aspiring pro. There's information that helps you, and we make sure that we spend a lot of time to get to the real stuff, not the nonsense, not the doc talk, not the stuff that's not going to help. It's the stuff that will get you into the fish, get you catching fish consistently. That's what we do. That's our method over here at Bass University TV. And right now, it's 30 days free. You use Bass U Live 30 days free, or buy it as a Christmas present for yourself. Give it to yourself. Give it to a friend, family member. But annual subscribers, we've got a $60 gift pack that includes a Bass U hat, a face shield, 2 Rapala DT6s, and an Ike Quotient Flambeau tackle box. And there's a ton more that comes with a subscription to Bass University TV. So come on over and join us. But we're going to have a Ken Duke trivia question. No.
A trivia question
It's
related
a
to tonight's
trivia
show.
question related to tonight's show. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
And it has to do with the Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
But
we love Ken Duke.
We
Shout
love
out to
Ken Duke anyhow.
anyway. But
That's right.
we're departing tonight because of the team tournament circuit. Question. Go ahead. Roll that question.
So
down.
tonight's question is: at the beginning of the show, we asked our panel what their favorite Christmas fishing related gifts were. That question went to Ike, it went to Pete, and it went to Justin Kimmel. We need to know the answers to all three of what their first or what their favorite Christmas-related fishing gifts were.
That's an awesome question. And I appreciate all you guys that have been hanging in with us, and we've really enjoyed talking to all you guys about team tournament fishing. And I'm inspired. I feel like this year I'm going to probably fish more team tournaments than I have in quite a long time.
They're fun. They're really are a good time. It's fun netting fish in team tournaments.
It is.
It's like scooping up dollar bills.
I like the camaraderie of it all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's something a little bit creepy about when you're on a boat with another guy and you catch a good one and he nets it for you, but he's really not happy for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of that necessary evil, the whole process and whatever. But it's really cool when you guys are chest bumping on the front deck when you catch one.
Yeah.
That's that much more invigorating and exciting. And again, I like the camaraderie aspect of it. As Justin saw today, the fishing's not that good around here usually. We have our good days, but for the most part, we're all out there, and we're all out there for the camaraderie. You know what I mean? It's the fellowship and to see the guys and and that's a big part of it. And for the Delaware River and different things like that, yeah, I had a fishing partner, and I get why you guys stick with a partner. But for a lot of this stuff, we rotate around a lot because it's a 60-acre lake. There's no secrets.
Mm-hmm.
So we interchange partners a lot, and you get to hang with different guys, and so it's more of the fellowship aspect of why we do it.
Yeah. Well, I
get out
agree.
of the house and away from the the chores.
It's fun and it's pressureless too, and that's what a lot of these tournaments. And it depends, like if you're just fishing a pot tournament, you're fishing to win. You don't have points on the mind, and you can just go out and open it up. Just let it all hang out and try to win. There's a lot of fun components to it, and I fished a buddy tournament this year for the first time with my son Jake.
Oh, heck yeah.
And we fished on the Cooper River Lake, and we caught, what did we catch? 0.2 pound white perch.
Nice.
In our debut as a team tournament. But it was a blast. Jake and I waded in. Jake brought the fish to the scales, and it was it was really cool. There was 20 guys in that tournament, 30 guys in that tournament. They all cheered for Jake when he weighed in his white perch. I thought that was
That's awesome.
I thought that was really fun. Jake was just talking about it today, as a matter of fact.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Cool.
Reminiscing about
That's
it.
great. And we do have a winner.
A winner already?
Yeah, it actually came in really quick.
Heck yeah, it did.
Our guys they watch the show pretty intently, and we appreciate that. We appreciate everybody being on the show with us tonight. I'm going to give a few shout outs here. Jerry Gallagher, Sean Kelly, Dustin Taylor, Scott Sinecki, Merg, Chris Birch, Bill Wassman, Steve Guadera, Cole, Michael Rossman, Mike O, Matt E, Big Bucket Mouth, Pat Loudon, a lot of other people too hanging out with us on the message board. We really appreciate everybody watching the show and being a part of the program with us. But I guess I'll go ahead and announce the winner for the grand prize.
Go for it.
And the winner of the grand prize was none other than New York Chris Birch.
New York Chris.
That's like his 6th hydro wave.
Might be. It might be. But, I mean, hey, what's fair is fair. He was the first one to come in.
Yep.
This is his part-time job.
Nice, Chris.
he had the answer correct. He came in.
He's a Bass
first.
UTV super subscriber,
He
man.
also
He's
must
out
have the
there repping
fastest-
us hard.
He also has the fastest internet on the East Coast.
Might be. Might be. I had another question come in the interim, though, from Pat Loudon. Do you guys have any strategies for motivating your partners when you're fishing?
Yeah, I think this question is an interesting one, Pat. It goes along the lines of how do you deal with a guy that's having a bad day or try to pick him up when things are going down. And, as a guide and a teacher, a lot of times I find that the mentality of the boat can go down when things aren't happening, when you're not generating strikes. And it's an important, component to try to pick people up. Justin likes to sing songs from popular women. But for me, I tend to try to always keep a positive, upbeat attitude for them, and try to create the idea that there's opportunity in front of us, that things are changing. Try to create a optimism always, like whatever you can find a lot of times, because it's the bite might not be happening, but all right, well, we're fishing docks, and we fish them early. Now the afternoon dock bite is going. It's benefited by the condition in the afternoon. So to get the whole boat thinking about, okay, well, we're fishing a condition that's benefited by the current conditions, whatever it may be. I'm a tidal guy, so all right, we're not getting them right now, but that's all right. It's higher tide, low tide's coming, and we can expect the bite to increase. So I constantly try to get that boat, that mentality, focused on the fact that we're doing something that is in front of the conditions. The conditions are benefiting what we're doing, and keep that optimism. I see that all the time, that really good anglers, like Mike is a great example, as an internal optimist. That's why when he catches a 1.5 pound fish, he thinks it's 5 pounds. And he lets us all know it, like he did over there on the lake today. But I think that's the optimism in him, I think that's the pure optimism, that his eyes he big eyes it. He feels wonderful about it. My mentor, Rich Snyderate, was a pure optimist. It was always, what we're doing right now is not working, but the conditions are it's going to work because, and try to create that scenario and an understanding that what we're doing is the right thing to be doing at all times. How do you deal with it out there, JK, with you and your partner? Trying to keep that positive feeling going. I guess the question, Pat says, how do you motivate the boat to do well?
Yeah, I think, I kind of mentioned this before, but I think we fished so long together now that we're both kind of committed to a style and a way that we're going to fish. I mean, part of the thing is like, well, we're there. We wouldn't be doing it if we're not going to go have fun.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't the end of the world. We've lost plenty of meaningful fish by now, so we've kind of been through it to where our feelings don't get hurt as much anymore. So it's, and sure, the Gerald Swindle Positive Mental Attitude seminar sticks out. I mean, we truly fish like that. We really abide by a lot of stuff in that seminar.
Pat, stop what you're doing right now. Put it on your to-watch list. You got Gerald Swindle, PMA, Positive Mental Attitude. It will change. It will turn anybody that's not feeling confident, not feeling good, or not inspired. It will inspire you. It'll touch you. Gerald's a really special guy. He's one of our favorite instructors, and that's available over on Bass TV right now. And it's one of our, if not our most popular seminar of all time, is Gerald Swindle's PMA. So definitely go check that out. Something I wanted to give a shout out to real quick, and we're really excited about this. Bass University this year, we've been working with Humminbird Electronics and Minn Kota Trolling Motors, and we are going to be working with them again in 2020, and we're really excited. They built the Ultrex trolling motor, which in my opinion is the greatest trolling motor that has ever been built. And the Spot Lock has revolutionized how we fish, and it is an amazing product. And I'm excited to be promoting them with Bass University and having them be part of our program. The Humminbird 360 is another revolutionary tool, and Chris Zaldane is one of them that gives great seminars about how to use the Humminbird products over on BassU.TV, and we've got several seminars with Humminbird featured, showing you how to use that product and how you use it to consistently catch fish, because we think it's one of the best products, and we're really excited to be working with them again next year to be giving you some great sonar training using Humminbird products. And I know the Professional Fish Head is got a brand new Bass Cat that is loaded with Humminbird stuff.
It's about to get loaded down next week.
Yeah.
Over at Bucks Island, our friends in Gadsden, Alabama, they're going to rig it out for me. Yeah, Ultrex, Talons, Helix 12s on the console and the deck.
Sweet.
What else we got? We're gonna get
They're the
360
best units.
mega imaging.
Those Helix units are so dang good and so user friendly. I've been running them since I got my G3 back in 2016.
Wow.
It had them on it, and I got used to running them, and I am damn confident fishing a lot to do with running Humminbird Helix electronics. I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I know how to program them. I know how to set them, and it made a big freaking difference for me right off the bat locally. Like one of the only big lakes we have around is Union Lake, and before I really knew many techniques, I would just go out there and just get out deep and find fish and just drop shot, just cast out and keep it on the bottom. And those units really jump started me to like figuring out how to find and catch fish.
That's awesome.
I strongly recommend them.
Very user-friendly products. We love them. We're going to be doing a lot more work with them, and look for, go search Humminbird on bassu.tv, and you can see all the wonderful training that takes place from some of the top pros in the country. One sticks out in my mind is the one we did in Florida with our boy from Down Under.
Oh,
Down under,
gosh.
Kyle.
What a seminar. I'll say this about our friend Carl. Like, I'm making a big jump here. Going to fish a little bit more from the front of the boat in 2020 and beyond, and I'm watching his, seminar that he did in the classroom and those live things, everything that we did on the water with him. Like, he's kind of my teacher for a lot of this moving into this. Like, I'm combing through those seminars, and there's an amazing seminar that he gave in the classroom. I can't remember what we called it, Total Boat Control. Just go look for his electronics seminar. But that's one that's gonna. I mean, it's the fast lane. I'm bridging such a large gap with that seminar.
Yep, he's an amazing communicator, really, really good teacher, and it was really amazing to watch him use spot lock and 360 and just smash them up one morning down on the Harris Chain of Lakes. It was pretty cool. So go check, search Carl, search Humminbird. You'll find all that great stuff over on Bass Unit TV, and look for a lot of great stuff to come in that realm. And we want to thank TH Marine. We want to thank Tackle Warehouse. We want to thank everybody that's been part of our program. I also want to invite, and we really haven't talked about this, and I'm just going to tell you guys, go over to thebassuniversity.com. We got classes. We're going to be in Minnesota, we're in Tulsa, we're in Indiana, we're in Alabama, and we're in South Carolina, and tickets are flying off the shelf, guys, and we're really excited about that. We're going to have some big crowds this year.
Record sales this year, right?
It's record sales.
That's right.
Yeah, get your tickets, because we actually might have to cut it off due to fire code. So get them now.
Yep, and we got, what do we got going on now for our Christmas? It's a Bass U bundle.
The holiday bundle. This holiday season, you will get 3 free months of Bass U TV. You will get a free hat off of our website. So the new hats that we don't even. So one of these and the one that Rich is wearing, and then a 30% off Missile Baits coupon for their website.
Excellent. And if you're already a subscriber of Bass U TV, we'll extend your membership by 3 months if you decide to come to one of our classes. So we're going to hook you up. So go over to thebassuniversity.com. You can get tickets, subscribe, come on over, join the program. It's going to help you become a better angler. And we have so much amazing things that are in the plans for 2020. None more important than the Bass University app, which is going to be available. Have we covered all our bases tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to remind people about our Flambeau discount, 40% off. And that is through the member benefits, right, for Bass U subscribers. We go through all these already. TH Marine offer to Bass U subscribers, get $10 off any purchase over 50. Special holiday offer from Erupt, 30% off. Use the code at checkout, RTD. And there's a Missile Baits in here somewhere, isn't there?
Yep, 30% off Missile Baits with the sign-up promotion. get a coupon for 30% off.
Most excellent. Well,
And I want to give a shout out to our buddy Eric Galasso, Epic Eric, on Instagram. If you guys are on Instagram, give Epic Eric a follow. His Instagram account is dope as hell. He's a tackle nut, and him and his partner Scooter Lilly were also down at the event, that the Bass Nation team event on Lake Hartwell. They had a really good finish, top third in the field. I was going to get Eric on tonight, but we're kind of tired and ran long. So
yeah, well,
he's an awesome guy.
We love Epic. We love Epic Eric, and he has won more products than New York Rich or close.
Yeah, I think New York Chris has got him.
Okay.
But Epic Eric has a tackle collection that can't be rivaled.
Yeah, he does.
He's a nut.
Well, we love him. We're going to have him on, and at some point in the near future.
I would love to get
Happy
him
holidays,
in studio
Eric.
someday.
What's that?
I'd love to get him in studio someday. He's such an awesome guy.
Yep, and he loves team tournament fishing, and we had talked briefly about that, and he loves that over the individual tournaments for all the reasons that we talked about, and I think a lot of other people do too.
The camaraderie,
the fun, the camaraderie, the
fellowship,
the enthusiasm.
Yes.
It's a great deal. I want to thank JK, Professional Fish Head, for being with us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. Can I give one little shout out real quick?
Sure.
This deal was all about team fishing, and we talked to the guys in the Bassmaster Team Tournament Trail. It's something Bassmaster has provided an opportunity to these team guys all around the country. But there's team tournaments not giving their guys an opportunity just to save on just a little bit of money, when they could charge the anglers $5 or $10 a pop each for one tournament in their trail to do it. So I'm gonna take this moment to call out my trail down in Georgia, the Berries guys. I love you guys. You guys run the best trail in Georgia, but give us a shot. Like we all want that opportunity. So I'm gonna take this time to use this platform to say, hey, we are all in. We will foot the bill. It's not a lot.
Yeah.
We will foot the bill. Give us a chance to go compete with those guys, please.
That's right.
Get registered. Yeah. Well, that's. I think it's an amazing program, and we'll see what happens in the future. And I think if you do get that shot, JK, it's likely we're gonna be talking to you on the next time we.
You could be a guest on the show.
Yeah, do a team tournament deal. But anyway, thank you, Riz. You got something else?
Yeah, we have a Facebook like and share winner.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
That's big time.
Yeah, no forgetting that. And,
New York Chris. Oh.
the Facebook like and share winner wins a TH Marine trolling motor pack, which includes the TH Marine troll jacket, the TH Marine G-force handle, and the TH Marine Eliminator prop nut. And no further ado, the winner of the Facebook like and share contest is Mark Carlson. Mark Carlson, you won the TH Marine troll pack. Congratulations.
Hey, Merry Christmas from TH Marine.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for liking and sharing. Thank you for everybody else liking and sharing our post over on Facebook. And thank you, BTC. Thank you, Riz.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, Zach. Thanks for
ZTI.
Jeff Olson.
Yep.
For I know you guys didn't get to see him, but he came out and
Mike the Unicorn.
stopped by. Mike the Unicorn. Thank you, Mike. Hope you feel better. And look for some great stuff. We really wish all of you guys a wonderful holiday season, a Merry Christmas.
When are we coming back again, Pete?
And we are going to be back in 2 weeks.
What?
We're going to be back in the 29th.
There it is.
The 29th
All right,
of December.
the look back.
Mark your calendars, guys.
We're going to be back, and we're going to do a look back. We're going to go back, and we're going to be talking about the most viewed and important seminars that Bass University TV put out. And from what I understand, I had 3 in the top 5.
Well, actually, you and Mike were both in the top 10, and there is a chance that one of you might have the most popular and best seminar / on-water video of the year. Pete, you already had that title like a year or 2 ago.
That's
with
right.
Fred Rambanis.
Yeah, that's right. Our Mexico endeavor. Wow, I made the top 10 again. That's pretty amazing.
That
I
doesn't
think
sound rigged at all.
Yeah, I think Justin's sucking up.
Weird.
It's not rigged. I go straight views.
And-
Straight up views.
Yep, we look at views and we announce our most viewed seminars and what our
How
most
many
viewed
times
seminars.
did you view your own seminar, Pete?
what is
90,000 is a lot on that Fred one.
I'm going to be
Jake,
doing.
you got to watch this one. Jake.
I can promise you my views are going to increase a lot between now and the 29th.
Jake, get on YouTube.
We'll have all of our devices watching at my house. But anyway, that's going to be a great show. Our most viewed seminars are the ones that are giving out the best content, the ones that people like the most, and we're going to share all that stuff with you. And we're going to have a lot of fun doing it, taking all the IM questions. We want to hear what your most popular seminars from Bash University TV are. And we also want to hear from you guys over on our forum. Don't forget that exists at Bash U TV. You can talk to me. You can talk to JK. You can talk to a lot of us about what's going on at Bash U TV, any questions you might have. And you can let us know there and on social. What do you want to see in 2020? What are some of the techniques and tools that you want us to be talking about in 2020? Because we've got a lot of
I'd like to hear
production
some feedback
going
I'd
forward.
really like to hear what people want to see.
Whether it's on our live show, what topics you would like us to cover. A lot more team tournament talk, more co-angler tournament talk, more bank angling. What is it that you guys are interested in? And that's what we're going to deliver to you guys. That's what we want to do. We're here for you. We appreciate you being part of our program. We wish you happy holidays, and we will see you in 2 weeks on December 29th, right here on Bash U Live at 7 p.m. Thank you, guys. Thank you, JK. I'm Pete Gluszek for Bash University TV. We are out.